college basketball.
Right on, Gary.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
David's going to be late tonight, so I'm primary.
Okay, right on. Sweet. I'm glad we have a backup.
Well, that's why I'm trying to wear that hat.
Right. Yeah, you're doing a good job, man.
Thank you.
We appreciate it.
Well, everybody's got to chip in and do their little part.
Right. Yep.
Scott, that was great last week.
Thank you.
What's that? Oh, yeah. His demo was awesome. Yep. Let's see.
Now we just have to make
Scott,
sure you become a madman, become the chainsaw, whatever it was, that movie.
Massacre.
Texas Chainsaw, man. Right.
You can make me a co-host if you want, Dane.
Already did.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, I blew up.
You ain't got to tell me. Cheers, y'all. First beer today.
Yeah, I need one of those after the day I've had.
Yeah, I just came in from laying down weed killer in the backyard. Nice and toasty out there.
Put my new lathe together today and it didn't run.
Oh no. What do you think's wrong?
It's giving me an error code of AERR. It'll start up, run for about 30 seconds, make a lot of noise, and shut off. Lock itself out.
What kind of machine was this again?
The brand new Jet.
Oh.
Like brand new. I just picked it up Monday.
Oh, is this that one that you got through, was it Lowe's or Harper?
Yep, through Lowe's, yep.
In which all they do is order it from Jet direct.
Yeah, so
what was the error? I'll look for it later. What's the error code?
Capital A, capital E, little r, two little R's. I sat on hold with Jet for 2 hours.
No kidding. And that's a 1640?
Yeah. Yep. So the motor makes a real weird clicking sound, then it shuts off. I got it to work, but it intermittently does it.
Yeah. Well, that sucks.
Tell me about it.
Right.
I mean, I got it to run, but every now and then when you start it up, it does this, and then you gotta unplug it, let it sit for a while, spin the motor, spin it all over by hand, and then it'll work. And I had it working for quite a while, and I don't know, it's like an intermittent thing, like the motor gets stuck. Like it's got a flat spot in it or something.
Yeah, I thought maybe you said flip the switch and there was no power to it.
Oh, I had that. And then on
that also?
What's that? What
had power issue also?
No. Nope. And then on the back of the EVS thing, it says fault when it does that. Like it's getting a power surge or something and it trips itself out.
Right. Scott Hampton, have you ever heard of anything like that on a Jet? He must just be logged in away right now.
I don't know anything about the Jets, but is that a 3-phase motor on a 220 power supply?
Oh, it's a single phase. Yeah, it's a 2-phase motor on a
on a single phase
motor out of 115 power supply.
That may be part of where the problem is. Then it may have a defective module there.
No, I think it's in the motor because the motor makes a lot of noise. It's a sound coming out of the motor.
Well, if it's got a bad phase in there, it could be jerking that motor around too.
I don't know.
Instead of a rotation around, it could be a partial rotation and a kick back slightly and then further around and something like that too. If it's converting a single phase to two phase.
I don't know what it is, but it's damn irritating.
I bet. Yeah, I feel for you, Scott. That blows. I know how I would be feeling.
I'm not real impressed.
Yeah, right.
Try taking the cover off the fan, because it's quite common you get a bent fan that's rubbing on the inside of the housing.
Would that trip it out though?
Yeah, because it's sliding it up and it thinks it wants to spin at X number of revs, but it's only getting half that, so it'll trip out.
Okay. I'll look at that. That's one place to start, I guess.
Yeah, that's a bummer.
I mean, I got it to run up, but it doesn't do it. You know, it does it once in a while now. It doesn't do it all the time like it did when I first started.
Right.
So I don't know if it's whatever's getting caught's wearing in, you know. Wearing it so it doesn't get caught, you know, like there's something in the way, like on the fan.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know much about the innards of the motor on the bigger motors. I know the old ones set up with windings and bushings.
Yeah, these are
on that.
I'm sure this is a brushless motor.
Yeah, it is. At least it should be. Considering all the sawdust that's associated with it, I wouldn't imagine they'd put a brush in there. Yeah, hopefully somebody in the group knows what it is.
It might be just something simple like the fan, like Donald was saying. Yeah. Maybe the fan's getting caught.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess if you pulled the housing off, you'd be able to see where it was rubbing if that was the case, right?
Yeah, I would think so. And I didn't drop it or nothing, you know, like to damage the EVS or anything.
Right. How was the shipping container? Was it intact?
Yeah, right. The top of it was. The bottom.
Take pictures?
The bottom crate wasn't so great.
Yeah. Did you take pictures?
No, I didn't. I took it out of the crate when I brought it home, though. I brought it home and out of the crate because we couldn't get the crate in my truck.
Right.
There's no scratches on it or dents anywhere. No rub marks anywhere. So they had it packaged really well. It wasn't going to get damaged. The crate, the bottom of the skin didn't look very good, but I mean, the internal parts of it, there was no damage on the inside.
Right. Hey,
it did look
Scott,
like
you know anything about jet lathes?
Jet lathes? A little bit.
So Scott just got a new 1640, and he's got an error code of AERR. And Scott, go ahead and tell him what's going on.
It runs for a few seconds, and then it makes a clicking or a clunking sound, and then it shuts off. It gives me the error code.
Oh, trying to
Then you
remember.
got to unplug it and let it reset itself and plug it back in. And if I spin it over by hand, then I sometimes can get it to run.
I'm trying to remember what the part is called on the motor that'll cause that. It'll come to me in a few minutes.
I know how that goes.
Brain cramp.
I've ran into the same problem on my Laguna, and I have a jet, one of those air filters on top that hang from the ceiling.
Yep.
Same problem
Yep.
as you're describing on it too. And I'm just trying to remember what part they said it was that they had to replace.
Did they just send it to you so you could replace it, or did you have to send the whole thing?
You need to take it in and have them fix it. It's actually a part of the motor itself. I had to take it in for them to be able to repair it.
Yeah, because I don't have any jet repair places anywhere close to me.
Most electric motor places can do it, but I would check with Jet first to see how that affects your warranty.
Well, this is brand new, Scott. I just plugged it in today for the first time.
Well, check with Jet and see. Sometimes they have a licensed repair place. If it's not them themselves, they might have a licensed repair place locally that'll cover their warranty.
Okay.
For electric motors and things like that. Because Jet repair places aren't all over the country or anything like that. So
Right. Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Oh, it's not a capacitor. Yeah, it's what it is. It's a part inside the motor that gets the motor turning. And that's why it'll start and then it'll stop.
Yep.
If that part fails, then the motor's gonna just stop all the time.
Yeah. This is like intermittent because I got it to run for quite a while, and then every now and then it'll do it. And
Yeah, that's describing the problems I've had with my jet air cleaner thing. Some motors, if you look at the motor, it's sitting right on the outside of the motor. It's like a little black round black box, or it's either that or it's round, sitting right on the outside of the motor.
Yeah, there's a little black box on the outside of the motor.
That's your problem,
All right,
right?
so
that's the part.
On the AW forum log, they say it's a default code for the Series E inverter.
That's what I was talking about. Is an inverter.
Meaning that there's an analog signal error. Check wiring of ACI.
It's called an inverter. It's what gets your motor started going.
Yeah.
Right.
But that's why sometimes when you get it going, it just runs and runs, and sometimes it'll make your motor just stop after even a right.
So the error release
act like it's cranking up, and then it'll just stop.
Yep.
Yeah, that it's called the inverter. That's what the name I was trying to think of it was. But yeah, it's that little back box that's sitting right on the outside of the actual motor that's attached to the motor.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does it have just a loose connection in it, maybe?
It could. It's a brand new lathe. So my guess is after it left the factory, it might have got banged around a little bit.
Yeah.
And kind of loosened a connection in that part.
Yeah, I'll look at that and see if the connection.
Yeah, but it's not really a shop serviceable thing in your own workshop.
Yeah.
Because they got to open it up and check the electronics in it, and it's just a big old. And in fact, the inverter might completely need to be replaced depending on what they find. So
yeah, right.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's called an inverter. For some reason I couldn't think of it. Dane, I'm glad you brought it. You said something. Yeah.
So there's other guy, well, I guess it's the same guy. So he's saying the code needs analog signal error, and the analog signal is derived from the potentiometer, which is a variable resistor that has a contact. The two ends of the resistor are connected to a DC voltage of about 10 V variable DC, and the slider provides the analog voltage speed setting. Set 1 on the dial, 1 volt, 10% speed. Set 5 being 50%. Set 10, 100%. The slider can fail to make contact due to wear and dust, and can intermittently. That don't make no sense. And intermittent, especially on a low quality potentiometer. So in other words, he's saying the connection to the potentiometer, which is what controls the
Speed.
wheel, that there's a slider there, it's not making full contact.
Sure as heck ain't dirty unless it's got oil in it from them shipping it.
I know, right? I'm gonna send you this link.
How's the speed control feel when you turn it? Is it smooth? Is it hard to turn?
Oh, it turns real nice. When it runs great.
Yeah, I've used my friends for demos when I've done demos for our club, and I love that thing. It's a beautiful lathe. They really upped their game when they came out with this model, but this is the first time I heard of a problem with the motor though. Usually if there's a common problem, it gets thrown all over the webs, like, it's like,
yeah,
just like Laguna lathes, the new Laguna lathes. Oh, the banjos are crap, or the electronics are crap, or the tel center's crap. You hear all about it if something's bad on it. So,
yeah, that's why I think it's something simple, like a loose wire somewhere.
Yeah, more than likely it's the inverter, and what it's doing is it's not reading the signal right from your speed control.
Yeah.
And that's what's messing up the inverter for your motor. So
Scott, I sent that thread to you an email,
Okay.
And there's another topic on it on Facebook in the Jet Lathe Owners group.
Okay. I'll check it out. Thanks, Dave.
All right. So I think between the two, you might be able to get it done yourself.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we can only hope.
Yeah, with that inverter, the problem with that is it's attached to all that the electronics board that operates your whole lathe. Goes to your
but it could be, like the thread was saying, it could be bad contact with the potentiometer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So one of the two, it's troubleshooting. Got some ideas now where to look based on other people having the same issue. So, I don't know.
I'm sure it's something simple because it works and then it doesn't work. So it's got to be something stupidly simple.
Right.
Well, usually if the inverter's bad, the motor tries to start and then it just stops.
Yeah.
Constantly. It wouldn't start and then run, and then other times it would do that. So I'm thinking you got a loose connection somewhere.
That's what I think too.
Yeah. So you might have just a loose connection on your speed control.
Speed control or right at the inverter, one or the other.
Yeah.
Yep. Or there might be a piece of dust or styrofoam or something there, so it's breaking up the contact.
Yeah. You can't tell until you open it up and
blow it out with air first.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's what I would do.
That would be the first thing I would do, is blow it out with air.
Yep.
Yeah. Blow it all down and clean it.
Hopefully there's some good solutions at Jet Owners group page.
Yeah, I'll check it out.
Okay.
That's always frustrating when you buy something new like that and then it doesn't want to work right. It's
Right.
like
I know.
it's like I saved all this money to buy this thing, and
Right.
I wait for it to get here, and I'm all excited like it's Christmas Day, and then it's like, man, it's frustrating.
Yeah. Yeah, that it is. Hey. How you doing,
Oh,
Eddie?
God.
Hey, good evening, gentlemen. You too, Scott.
Yeah.
Which one?
One.
Yeah, right. Which one?
All right. As I look up the screen, I'm thinking, uh-oh. You know, that button, you say that the lathe won't start. I had a jet lathe given to me by Jet for the use of a club. And we first got it in, got everything set up and all, pushed a button and ran like great. The next day, nothing. Play with it, nothing. Then the next day, starts again. One of the guys in our club, a very wherewithal guy, says, you know, it's got something to do with that push button. I said, what do you mean it's got something to do with the push button? He says, if that button goes in, there's only that much that makes a contact, ignites a thing that turns on the inverter. And he said, and if it doesn't do that, the inverter doesn't know anything. It's like, hey, we're not here. We called Jet, and Jet says, well, I'll tell you what, we'll send you back and we'll send you another controller. And the guy thinks, well, that's a week. You know, if they're going to send me another one, let's find out what's wrong with this one. He opened it up, and a little bitty piece of one of those styrofoam BBs was inside that switch. And when it rolled down, we played with it for a long time. When it rolled down, sometimes it'd go between right where that actuator was, and sometimes it wouldn't. When it did, the actuator didn't get to work because it was softer than the rubbing part. So it was amazing. All that time we lost on it, and it was a one little bitty piece of packing material. And we have to think that these things come out of a factory, and there's human beings touches those parts and pieces all the way through. And there's a lot of times in this world that people don't touch what they're supposed to touch to fix things. So, I mean, we're looking for human nature to solve a problem that is caused by human nature. Pardon me, but you know, I get a little frustrated when I think about the things I see or have occurred to me when we're out in the marketplace or looking for something. I mean, to go in the store and somebody tell you they don't sell borax anymore because it's illegal.
What?
What?
Yeah. They didn't have any borax at the grocery store I was at the other day. And trust me, I do not go to the grocery very often. That's a woman's job. Oh boy. But no, I have a dysplasia problem. And I have to be careful about what I'm looking at because then my whole mind becomes clouded and I can't find the thing that's right in front of me. And it happens. But I was looking for borax and I asked the guy, he said, borax? Oh, you can't buy it anymore. It's illegal. You know, that was his excuse for, I don't know where it's at.
Right.
Know, but I've seen well, I've run across that a lot. When I asked a guy about wax paper one time, he says, oh, you don't need that. We got plastic bags. You know, we're dealing with unfortunately, we're dealing with a whole generation of folks who are relying on somebody else to solve the problems of the world so they don't have to really get involved. It's just how I feel about it. You see it so often. I mean, it's a shame. Somebody says, where we're going to go, the hell in a handbasket. Yep. But we most of us have to
Dave,
go
you got
along for the
access.
ride. Pardon?
Oh, I was telling
Got it.
Dave he
Thank
already
you.
has access. Just set
Okay,
yourself
great.
up.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry for interrupting it.
No interruption. Dave, later on, in about an hour or so, we're going to get an update from you on what is happening on the World's Greatest Woodturning website.
Absolutely. Great.
All right.
Great. Yeah.
I was looking
Yeah.
forward to
And
that.
don't miss that, folks. If you don't check it,
announcement.
if you don't check it out, you're missing. Oh, I tell you what, I go every day to see what's new. And there's always something new. But I got one for you. I got one for you. Oh, wait. Before we get there, and this has to be on the QT. Is that how you say it? QT? Has to be on the QT. This morning, I got my download of Wood Turning magazine. I get it online for $3.27 a month through Amazon. I got my copy of Wood Turning magazine. Step up. Yep. That's what you got to do. There's an article in there by a guy. We call him Mr. Duxbury. And he put an article in there about building a stool. And it is a very well produced article about a stool. And it'll answer a ton of your questions with good sketches and all that. So if you don't get that magazine, and when you get it, it becomes, I love about mine. I get to carry mine everywhere I go. It's right here on my iPad. Yeah. And it's my copy. I don't have to download from that point on. So when I went to clinic this morning, I knew I had about a 2-hour wait for treatment. Just bring in the iPad, click, go to it. Get to cruise through it all the time. It says Wood Turning. It's a British publication from Great Britain. It's very good. You will like it. And it's not an advertising fault.
I know that guy.
You can't get anything.
I know that guy.
You know the guy. Watch him and keep an eye on your wallet when you're around.
This is the fastest phone.
I know that guy.
That's him.
Yeah. Resembles a character we got in this group.
There you go.
Character is a good description.
I got a picture from Bob Genstead, I think it is, of a stool he made that, man, he really capitalized on that article. I'll tell you, it's gorgeous. I hope he shows it tonight.
Good. Bob.
Yeah, I do.
Bob Grinstead.
Yeah. I don't know if he's on here. In fact, I think that storm went right over his house. He's right near Waco, and supposed to be a really bad storm tonight. Went right over that. He may not be on tonight or something. Anyway.
I know the folks in Denver and Colorado Springs, they got dumped on with snow last night.
See, a roper got a half a foot of snow.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Roger did. Yep. That's just crazy. End of April and still getting snow.
I'm hopeful that we're getting into spring, really. I mean, I'm sitting here in a sweatshirt with no air or anything on in the house. But got up this morning to go for treatment, put my shorts on, got as far as the front porch and went, nope, gotta go back in.
I want to go skiing.
Never mind.
Oh.
Hey,
I didn't like
snowing
skiing
here on
when I was
Monday.
younger, and I don't like it now that I'm older. Hey, Matt, what'd you say?
It was snowing here on Monday.
Was it?
Yes, it was.
It follows Matt around. It does.
Scott and I figured out this is third winter now.
All right.
It's the fourth winter for me because it was snowing on Monday again.
Mercy. It's thick.
That's crazy.
It's thick.
Yep.
I miss the people, but I sure don't miss the north. You can have
Yeah, right.
All my part of it.
I was skiing since I was like 4 years old. I haven't been in a couple of years because it's expensive, but I love it. So I'd do it tomorrow if I could.
I did that. Then I got so damn tired of riding on a snowmobile, I almost sold it the one year. It was a novelty when you first get it, but after a while, oh my God.
Snowmobiles are cold.
Yeah, they are.
I worked with a guy in Vietnam that was so diehard, he wouldn't buy beer or anything because he was saving up for a new snowmobile. This was in 1970, and he was a nut about it. I imagine today he's got one of this jet-powered Jim Duxbury from up in Wisconsin. But they were nuts about it.
Yeah, there's whole societies up here that people spend the whole winter like traveling around in the middle of the night from bar to bar on snowmobiles.
You haven't lived till you hit a frozen anthill at 60 miles an hour on a snowmobile, I'll tell you.
Or going across the lake and hit somebody's ice chunk from when they cut their hole for their fish house.
Oh,
God.
Well, they had a better one than that up in Ohio. They used to go from the shore to the Put-in Bay and all the islands out there. And the one night they ran an icebreaker through, and all those guys were over there drinking, come back, and I think they lost about 10 of them.
Because they didn't know the hole was there?
They didn't know the icebreaker had gone through there, yeah. And I guess the ice comes back up and looks like it's there, but you go right in.
Yeah, it's only like a fraction of an inch thin.
Yeah.
Huh.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Not that I had anything to do with it, but when I was a teenager and had a motorcycle, other guys would go joyriding on golf courses. Because it's big, wide open places. It's just that you got to tell the new guys where the sand traps and water holes are. All of a sudden, where's Mike? Where's Mike? Where's Mike? Oh, he was with us when we went. Okay. Yeah.
He found the sand trap on the 15th green.
The things we used to do, right? It was all innocent.
Oh boy. Look at us now. We're still alive.
Hey,
Yeah,
Dane,
the best.
Oh man, look.
Dane, what was it again? You said it's a centrifugal what on Scott's?
Oh God, I've already closed it down. No, it's with the inverter and potentiometer.
Oh, okay.
Arizona has a coast.
Because I found two things online that might also be causing the problem. So,
if you want, forward that to me, and I'll forward it on to Scott, or Scott can give you your email address.
Okay.
More resources, the better.
Yeah, we can pretend that none of that stuff when we were younger happened. Didn't happen. We didn't do that when we were kids.
I look at it this way. I'm suffering from PTSD from Agent Orange. It might have happened in another world somewhere else, but it wasn't me.
Right.
And I have to.
It wasn't me.
Part of my healing process. One of my counselors, and not to call them shrinks, when we first started meeting, I was telling him about I had a journal, a notebook that I kept from 60 years ago, and I'd always have little entries into it, and that's where I'd scribble somebody's name and address and all that. And I kept it after the first wife threw everything else dealing with the war away. That book got left behind, and I go through it. I tell him, now looking at this and looking at this, and he says, you need to stay away from that. And then after a couple of sessions, he said, I want to change that. I want you to go back and find those weird, fun things you did and write a story about each one of them. He said, just drag it out like it's in a novel. Just explain where you were, what was going on, what happened, and he looked at me and he said, just how stupid you really were. And it's really bringing in some fun times. And I really wonder how I made it this far in life.
Yeah,
I didn't kill myself or get shot.
We were young in the military. We did some silly things.
Oh man. And some people say, you made that up. Nope. I learned from my daddy. If you got the chance, takes the chance. Because we can tell you.
Life is short.
No.
Life is short.
Yeah. He's the one that stood me on a corner on Canal Street in New Orleans and told me, he said, here's the best piece of advice I'm ever going to give you, son. If you're ever in a situation where it looks like there's nobody's in charge, take over. All they can do is fire you. And it might have been the best piece of information I ever had, but it was probably one of the worst. They're telling me now I really should have never used that advice, or at least not as often as I ever did. But makes you wonder. Hey, I got one for you tonight, guys, gals, Sue. If you're turning something, all right, I'm spinning something on the machine in the back right now. It is a piece of 2x4. All right, because I'm experimenting with the design. I drew it out just so Jim Duxbury knows I did this. I drew it out on a piece of graph paper, which I believe it's the best way to plan is in ink. And so you can change it there easier than you can with a tool. But I have something spinning on the lathe, and it'll get it to a point. Now, here is the question. This is going to be roughed in, just a little bit sanded, knock the fuzz off. What would your, this is it, what would your preferred flash finish be to check out the quality of the work? What would you flash it with right then and there so you could get a better idea of what's in there for your work? Somebody's sharing this broadcast and I'm trying to stop it.
I would do sanding sealer, Eddie.
That's how I feel. I do 50-50 sanding sealer.
That's what I do.
And
I've always felt
it effervesces right off, and you can see the grain and everything.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and it lets you.
If I'm just doing something real quick, I shoot it with paint thinner just to see what it looks like.
Oh, there you go.
Shows the glue and everything else. It doesn't have to be sanded off. I just hit it with a light mist of paint thinner.
You can do the same thing with denatured alcohol.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, people use DNA to get the fuzzies off and stuff too. Yeah, that's excellent advice. I've used that myself.
There are all kinds of tricks we got.
Well, a lot of turners don't realize that if you splash a piece and you say you knock the fuzz off, and then you splash with something, you will see all the rings, all the slices, all the tears, all those little bitty sins that you can overcome will jump out and stare right at you, and you say, wow, I can make one more pass with a skew, or I can do a sliding gouge cut or whatever, and also let you know how bad your sanding may be, because as soon as you start putting paper on something, you're actually cutting it again. It's just you're cutting it on little bitty grunt lines and grooves. But it give you an idea. But my favorite one is sanding sealer. And on that, I really like the deft, and I break it 50-50 with lacquer thinner, and it splashes on quick, and that fast you can turn it around. Now you can build that finish up. You know, if you're happy with what you're seeing, you just keep building on it, sand it down a little bit more, bring it up to the high grade that you want. But it's going to also let you see the beauty of the piece. I'm not saying I was showing you all the flaws. No, you'll then see the beauty of what's coming out. And you'll understand that if you make the next cut a slice and slice over that you won't tear that high-low grain off. You'll slice it off because you know, if you sand it, you got this. You got bumps with ridges or divots with ridges. They're of different sizes. And if you sand, you magnify them. They'll, especially real different high lows, like that piece of pine I have on the lathe right now. It's wide grain, fast grown. I could feel it in cutting it that it was going to have that grain problem, not problem, but situation. But that's when I decided, all right, I'm going to back off. This thing's got a fairly nice, straight, long shaft on it. I'm going to back off, put a fresh, clean edge on my skew, and go back in and make a nice, clean, fresh rub off and just slice it right off. I mean, I'm talking the wispies that you saw last week on Dane's piece of cherry, the little wispies coming off like that. That's the kind of wispies I'm going to be looking for. I'll make that pass and I get them. Now, at that point, I probably have something perfect for continuing with. And I don't have to go to it with 80, 100, 120 grit paper. I would splash it, take a look at it. If I don't have a lot of highs and lows, knock the fuzz off, and then start up at about maybe a 220 and walk up from there. And I'm a firm believer if it's softwood, stop at 400, give up. Because after that, you're only burnishing it.
Another
today
trick is to use sidewalk chalk or teacher's chalk. Just draw a couple lines over your piece that you're doing, and that chalk is going to highlight any deformities in the finish. Or everybody's got a high resolution camera on their cell phone. Take a picture of it and then blow it up and see if you can see any marks or rings that need to be removed.
They'll stand out. Remember, every groove is a line. Yeah. Every line's a bump. Every bump's a blemish, you know. And I was watching somebody the other day do something with carbide tools, and the guy said, it was the dumb statement about you can't make this kind of cut with this kind of tool. And I'm thinking, no, you can't make anything if you don't know how. He doesn't really understand how the tool is cutting, and that it is possible to do a slicing cut with that. Carbide's a scraper most of the time, but you can get a slicing cut out of one. You just have to get away from being free and easy to actually requiring a little bit of talent to do it. So, you know, it was the same thing. It was the highs and lows. I think he was turning a piece of Bacote. And there are high lows in Bacote. And the softs were given up early because he was doing a purity scraping cut. And that's the beauty of that tool, is it lets you do those kinds of things. To the best, I don't know. But it lets you do those. I got to find somebody at SWAT, the world's greatest wood turning symposium, in my opinion. They normally do, and they have for years and years, done workshops down on the ground floor of the Waco Center. They set up a club, sets up an area down there, and you can go up and turn a pen. You get a pen kit, get all the hard anna, and somebody from their club will stand there with you, a complete rookie if you are, and they'll stand there with you and help you turn a pen. I took the family that was manufacturing things for my company up there 5-6 years ago, and all four of them got down to turn pens that morning. They were in a world of, you know, delight, having fun. I have got, since I closed my business, I found another mixed case of cutters to fit on a 3/8-inch cutter bar. I think there's squares and the radius squares, and there might be some miscellaneous in there. I'm looking for a club that would like me to send them that box of cutters. Now, there's conditions. I'm going to send it to you. You can use it as SKU. You can give them away as SKU. Can't sell them. That's it. I'm giving to you because it goes to the benefit of wood turning. So if you're interested, email me. And you can do that through worldwidewoodturners@gmail.com, or put it in a text. I'll see the text because I don't ever miss the text. Donald tells me save the text, so I save the text every week. But that's what I'll do with those cutters because it's why we help each other out, right? And to me, it's never been about the buck. It can't be about the buck. We're a bunch of friends sitting on a tailgate. It was funny going into Aqua Size yesterday morning. I had a guy walk past me. He says, "Hey, I'll see you out on the tailgate tomorrow night." As he walked by me, my wife's with me. She says, "What's he talking about?" I said, "Worldwide Woodturners." I don't know that guy. And he catches the repeats on our website where you can catch them too. And but it's funny, he just catch me off guard. See you on the tailgate. That's where our friends gather every Wednesday evening. And it's good.
It's fun. It's so fun that it happened it's fun that it happened in real life.
Right?
Yeah, it is. I mean, I see photographs. I see photographs from Detroit area wood turners I saw on the website or Facebook yesterday, today. And I know those guys. I've met them at symposiums or whatever and talked to them or had them buy stuff from me. And it's like visiting with your friends. We've been doing this 186 times on Wednesday nights. This is number 186. So we've been gathering a little bit. It is now, yes.
Wow.
That's nearly 4 years. Wow.
Yes.
It's amazing.
You've all got September, old, guys.
What, Sue?
I said, yeah, 4 years. You've all gotten really old, you guys.
Yeah.
All right, and I got to get this right. Who said that?
Speak for yourselves, you guys. It's not me. Not me.
Not true at all. The front of my hair is completely white. What can I say?
Well, hell, I ain't got no hair.
What's hair?
Yeah.
Oh, Jim, you got more hair than I do.
Y'all know what's still weird to me is when I first started watching this, Doug Rowe had no hair. He had no hair for like the first 2.5 years, and now he's got hair. That's really weird to me.
And he's shaping it to be a man bun. He won't tell us that, but that's what he's doing. He's shaping to make a hand bun.
I will personally grab hair, so shape for it.
Billy Burt's in the house.
Billy, I got your money.
Good. I didn't want to owe you any longer than I already have.
No problem. We are still selling club stickers or decals or labels or how you want to call them. I see them in the background. Somebody's got them in the background up there right now as their screensaver behind them. But that's what we have. And they're like.
Yes, I got mine.
Who does? Yeah. See?
I got mine.
All right. All showing their club.
Saturday. Then I got mine. Got mine. See?
Yeah.
Right there.
Now I got today. I love this. Sue, be careful. I'm be careful how I say this. We mailed 5 internationals last week. Went to the post office and they carried them in, had them verify the addresses and all that stuff. Put the postage on them, which was $1.48 or something like that a piece. Fast delivery. Those 5 envelopes were in my mailbox the very next morning. Yeah, my mailbox. They put them through the wrong machine or something, or hit the press code. But nobody. If you're waiting for that international letter to come, it's on its way now. But went back over to my wife says, "Okay," and I was standing. She made me stay away from the counter so I didn't attack anybody. And the guy says, "Okay, what do you mean? Here's the deal."
If you see an international fax in, normally the to and from on an international package is reversed. So really that doesn't surprise me.
Oh,
Where the
okay.
from is down below and the to is bigger up on top. So yeah, that doesn't surprise me. It just, you know,
All right.
I think
Error,
it is
error input on the sticker when they're typing it in.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
You have to so you need to, in the future, when you're doing international mail, you need to validate the postage sticker that's printed out by the post.
But yeah, I figured it'd be a buck and a half to mail. That's why I kind of mentioned about international. I haven't been with window service for, gosh, 23 years, but you know, the rates are always about 2 to 3 times more than domestic rates.
yes, the nice lady that we had a business consultant in the post office when we were in business, and nice young lady that helped us out. And I called her. She said, "You wanted to tell people how much more to send? Send a buck. You know, throw a buck on top of your regular 63 or whatever it is and postage."
Yeah, that'd be right.
And that's what we started with, and we hoped it would wash, and it really does. It's within about a penny or two. And my boss is extremely antsy about this money thing, and I don't want to harp on it, but we need to keep this crystal clear, and we are. And that's why I said the checks finally went in the bank today, because she said she was holding on to them to make sure everything was all right. Okay, so got a good boss. She's keeping too close an eye on things sometimes, but we have plenty of those stickers still left. I got probably 600 or 700 sitting right there on the table. I just did the slicing on them a few minutes ago. $5 for a pack. If it's got to be mailed internationally from New Orleans, add me another $1. Otherwise, in the United States, it's $5. You get 10 stickers. They come regular mail. And you're in a group. And what do you do with them? Like everybody else. I mean, we look at people's shop photographs. I mean, I said a little while ago, Roper. I don't know if Roper's got paint on the walls in the shop. They're all stickers. Same with that outlaw in the Northwest. What's his name? Jacobson. Carl. He's the same way. He saved on wallpaper. He's got stickers wall to wall. But then I can't talk too much. My lathe looks like it's held together by stickers. So, and that's part of what we're doing now for the club. And it has been almost 4 years we made this move. And I'm glad we did. Got a lot of photographs in this week for the newsletter, and I'll be producing that. Look at the calendar. That's going to probably get produced on Friday. And it's insert the photographs. I've got some other little tidbits to put in there that we've developed over the last month or so. And normally when something kind of unique, it's always unique, but kind of unique pops up in a meeting, I'll make a note and I'll throw a little note towards it in the newsletter in case you missed the meeting or didn't get to absorb that information, or you didn't get the link or whatever. But you got to remember, on our website, there are links and shortcuts to all kinds of things. And we emphasize to our members, if you share something with us, like right now, if somebody says, I have a really great and you need to go try it, put it in the chat, give us a link, tell us where you got it. If you don't go any further than that, that's okay. But that's sharing the information. It's all in the chat. That's why we keep saying save the chat. It's important. And there was something else. Oh, promos. I put a promo out the other day, and it was rejected for copyright infringement. So we've redone it again. I'm using iMovie, and I imagine one of the verses in their iMovie background is not been released or whatever. So sometimes Facebook or Google or one of those other ones picks it up as being an illegal copyright infringement or a copyright infringement, and they kick it back. So we got that one back online. Some beautiful work. And I am really liking when you send me a photograph. I got some this week from Dane. of two urns that he turned. And it's nice to see multiple photographs of the piece because we use them in a promo, in the newsletter, on our website and all. We can, whoever's editing it can pick the best view or site or enlarge or crop or whatever to get a really good image on it. I really like when we get that, especially I think, Dane, you had metal inserts for screws.
I'll show them tonight.
Yeah. You see, that's what we want to know about. Because I got a spot the other day said they can't find anybody that makes those metal rings to go into things. Well, there's a lot of common ones that you can create or make or whatever. Ruth Niles' business, which is ran by that outlaw Carl Jacobson, they have some rings for doing urns, male and female that you insert. Paul Holmes out of St. Louis area makes those for him. And it was a nice guy up in Oklahoma that used to make them. And I've lost contact with him. Hope it's not permanent loss. But yeah, he had them in different sizes from, I would say, pet size to full road size. So you could, pick what you want to make for the urn.
Right.
And it was one of the, we in a little while we're going to do a web update for you, but phone number. I got it on top of my sheet. I went about 4 months without having a phone number. It was important not to have one. We closed the business 8 months ago, and we're still getting phone calls 6 months later from wood turners. And we're insistent. We want to talk. We're going to talk. We're going to talk. We're going to talk. And that was not a happy time. So I went ahead and my phone number changed. Well, my number is now a different number and it's available. So you can get it from our contact list or you can get it from our website or you can get it from, in just a moment, I'll be there. You can get it from our chat.
All right.
That's it. That's my phone number. So if you need to get a hold of me, call me. The other part of the healing process is I don't always carry the phone, but I will listen to my messages and get back to you. It's one of those things. Right, I'm looking through some notes here. We've had a pretty good week. Well, I tell you what, we got a few minutes. Who's on for demos? Is that going to be you?
Billy Burt. We got Billy Burt.
Billy Burt. And I thought we took some medication to avoid that.
I missed it. What was it?
He said he thought he took medication for that Burt demo.
Got it.
Yeah, because that,
I think we're going to do some eccentric things tonight.
We are, and
we all know there's a little trouble coming when we go to Billy, just a little.
I haven't messed with this truck since I turned that in the other day, so we're all going to be.
Billy, we can barely hear you.
We see him now. Audio's a little in.
Billy, while you're working on your mic, Eddie, can you give an update on Freedom Pins and the addresses?
Oh man, yeah, because I had a note in here. All right, bear with me. I'm going to go there. First, I have to go here, and I got a note from, I want to see it here. A guy sent me in a note the other day, and it's not coming up on my mail, but he is a pastor, and he's with the military, and he's looking to collect some pens for his troops. And I will find that name and address, and I will put it in the chat. Right now, I imagine I'm in the wrong mailbox to see that. But we still collect pens for Freedom Pens. This is going to be an ongoing process for, I hope, forever with Freedom Pens, with Worldwide Woodturners, because it's something we should all get behind. And really, it's not a thing of veterans or this or that. The thing is, no matter where you live in the world, there are people protecting your freedom. No matter what country it is, no matter how you do it, there's people protecting your freedom. From firefighters to policemen, all the way through, they're out there to help you. And Freedom Pens thanks them for helping. So if you want to turn Freedom Pens, it's so difficult. You turn a pen. That's all. You turn a pen. This is a pen I got in the mail the other day. MJR out of Toledo sent me this pen. Man, MJR, who are you? If you're still around, I don't have your name to put on it, but this is going to go to the Colonel for Freedom Pens. You turn a pen and you send it to us. Where do you send it? The address is on our website, the world's greatest website dealing with the wood turning. That's it. You go to one, if you want to pick a branch, we got 6 divisions in the United States. We have the Army, the Air Force, the Navy, the Marines, Coast Guard, Space Force. Yeah, that's 6. That's 6. Yeah, and they're all covered.
Hey,
we have distribution points for all of them.
I'm not sure if the Space Force address is valid anymore. He hasn't been a part of the meeting for quite a while now.
If in doubt, send it to their stepdaddy, the Air Force. You know.
Yeah. Send it to the Air Force.
But you can't go wrong with sending it to anybody in the military or anybody in special services or immediate response, first responders. It's a nice thing to do. Jump on board and get in there. It is. Ron Todd says, anybody heard from Ronnie Barnett and John Brown? No, I haven't. I haven't heard from either one of them in quite a while. I guess it's a waning thing, and they'll be back with us or whatever. I do miss Mr. Brown. He's a character. He was Mr. Brown was in there before Mr. Duxbury came in and took over that slot, which was a good move, right, Jim. Good move.
Hey, Captain, I got a question.
Go ahead with your question, sir.
Well, I found some stuff called Krylon UV resistant clear gloss acrylic coating. Has anybody tried it on wood yet?
Yes. Yes. Yep.
Yes.
It works well on wood. It's just like the 3X, only not quite as thick.
Will it keep the box elder from turning green?
Turning green.
Yeah, the red in box elder will turn green in the UV light.
No, I don't think it. That's just a natural occurrence. I don't think any finish can prevent that from happening myself.
Okay.
So,
I'm just curious.
I've reduced the loss of red, which is what he's talking about. In box elder, you have that little red bleeding or streaking goes in that. It gives it real great character. I've reduced it with a UV resistant Valspar product. Well, that's an old name, right? Valspar product I bought years ago, and I had to buy a quart in order to get it from the Ace Hardware store on the corner. I turned a segmented birdhouse for an ornament piece out in the front. Don't anybody tell Birdhouse Bob this, but I plugged a hole with a black plug on the inside so the wasp and all couldn't get in there. Now, that's been hanging in that tree out there. I looked up the other day, 13 years. And the top of it, all segmented piece, the top of it is really crusted with tree crap from, the oak tree it's been in. But everything else is in perfect shape. Everything. Because I had a tree cutter come in, and I want to make sure you knew, don't touch that birdhouse that's hanging on a wire and from that tree. Don't bump it with the truck or anything else. If there's a major problem with it, I'll get it down. But in looking at it, it's gorgeous, and it's a Valspar product over regular def sanding seal, lacquer sanding sealer. But I've used that Krylon over 2x4. Yeah, things we did out of 2x4 a long time ago in this club. By knocking it down, putting a little sanding sealer on it, then took it out, hung it up, and sprayed it with that Krylon. And I used traces technique for hanging. They were like ornaments. Coat hanger hanging outside the shop. Walked over it, sprayed, hanging on it, sprayed it. You can get a good 360 on it, and came out really good. So Duxbury's back with us again. He's got a question. We got to go here. We have to go here.
You got it. Okay. Well, this sounds easy, but I've been drilling birdhouses and pepper mills and things for a long time. And I thought, damn it, they make twist drills that do the same thing. And I can resharpen these and they last forever. And they do work. However, anything above about 800 RPM or something, this thing starts chattering unbelievable. Anybody know what's wrong with that? I'm at about 50 RPM, it drills a gorgeous hole, but it takes a while. But it's just this is 1 3/8 inches, I think. But I've got 1 1/4 inches. I bought 3 or 4 of them. And I thought, damn, that's got to be a good way to go. But it will not drill end grain. Anybody know what's wrong?
Well, I had no idea.
It's really design. It's design of the cutter.
Hey, Jim. Hey, Jim.
Yeah.
That flat part right on the top of there is designed for cutting metal.
Right up here?
Yeah.
Playing the bevel?
It's designed to cut metal.
Okay.
So if the wood is there, that flat part is making you jump around. If you had a pilot hole before you start, you wouldn't get it.
No, I tried that too.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. It looks like there's a secondary bevel, like there's a bevel on the edge, and then there's a bevel behind that. That's not metal cutting or something, is it? It looks like it's the same angle. I don't know, but you can't imagine how this thing chattered. I mean, it's just unbelievable.
Hey, how about now? There's a guy up in Canada. His name's Michael Fortune. He does furniture, and he makes his twist drill bits. He takes them to the grinder and makes them brad points, and rather than buy brad points. I wonder if that would work.
I've seen that done. I've never done it, but
Speeds you're cutting too fast.
Cutting too fast?
Have you tried wax?
Yeah. That takes the noise out of it, but at about 50 RPM, real slow. This thing cuts beautiful, but it takes forever. I thought it should be, usually they're high-speed drill bits, aren't they?
Right.
They're not made to go over when you're cutting wood. The wood itself is causing it to vibrate.
Yeah.
Hey, Jim, the speed.
Nothing over.
I'm sorry.
Jim, what's
Charlie.
what's the shank of that drill bit look like?
About half
Okay.
inch.
Yeah.
Okay.
The speed is your problem, Jim. You said that it was cutting fine under what number did you say? Like 500?
Under probably 100.
No, it would be more than that.
It's not much. But,
No, it'd probably be more than that. But that's what it's designed to do. Every tool's designed to do.
okay.
Okay. Let's go to the basics.
You got to remember with a drill bit with that large of a bevel, it's cutting a lot per rotation.
Yeah.
A lot, and it's putting a lot of pressure on that drill bit, on that cutting edge, and also that secondary bevel that's on it. That's to clear away any debris that the drill bit's cutting.
Yeah, it does that good. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but
okay. There is an entire geometry on how to design the bevel, the release, the relief cuts on the flutes, and how you cut the cutting edges on the flutes. There's an entire science that goes behind that. There are places you can find on the internet that'll explain more than you want to know about that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'll give it a shot.
Okay, let's go back to the early years. When we were all in kindergarten, if you're trying to figure something out, they'd tell you draw it. You're trying to figure out draw it. All right. Draw, just take that drill bit and no matter what size. Draw it on a piece of paper, the circle that you want to cut. And then what is making contact, put that on the same circle. Put the flutes, draw them in. And then what is that center point? That's where I'm going. What is this center point? Because the best machinist I've ever met is a guy named Paul Holmes. He's out of St. Louis, Missouri. He did installations of equipment for me. He manufactured equipment. And he would hand sharpen his drill bits on site with a 4.5-inch grinder and just roll them. But his twist bits always had a point, always, because they all walk. The chisel goes in and the chisel changes. It'll find, in steel, it finds a molecular structure and adheres to that structure. So the wobble is not as much. But in wood, when it goes into the grain, or the lack thereof on end grain, it will try, that chisel's trying to read another spot to spin on. So it doesn't have that spot. It's got a slice, a groove, not a point, but a groove that it's trying to read. The way it's walking, my belief, the way it's walking is that twist bit with that flex in it that they all have. It will flex enough walking back and forth to get that groove to work. And the faster you turn it, the worse it will get, because the point that you're trying to get into is going to widen or lengthen. And you're just going to walk and walk and walk. I tell you how to sharpen your bit, but I always go back to Homie. Homie would sharpen. I said, you can't sharpen that. You got to get such and such. I went and bought him a drill doctor, one of those things one day. And he thanked me, and I think he returned it the next day and got his money. But if you're in doubt as to how it cuts, take it apart, draw it. Somebody else had to draw it when he built it, hopefully, and draw it out. That's why when you look at a brad point and look at wood cuts on a brad point, when you look at a Forstner bit, people sharpen Forstner's bit all wrong all the time because they think they got to improve the cutting edge. No, all you have to do is improve the slicing edge. And you leave all the rest of them alone, because if you get one slightly off, the thing will walk like crazy. So yeah, I would sit down and take a good hard look. Even it comes down to having somebody turn the bit in your chuck or putting it in your lathe and spinning the flywheel to watch it actually going into a piece. And as it's going in, you can see what's happening. You get to get your eyes right down on top of it and see it and spin it real. Remember, if you can cut it at 1 RPM, you cut it 1,000 RPMs. So you just cut it and see how it moves. It might help you out with that a little bitty bit.
Let you know how I make out.
Yeah, I'd love to know. We'll get a little time to do a little gallery here tonight. We've got a couple of folks popping in, getting a crowd here tonight, which is really, really good. Dane, do we have anybody you'd like us to pop in and take a look at?
Yeah, we're going to go to Bob Grinstead here. He's got something to show. Hey, Bob.
Yeah, hey, guys. Let me turn this light on so you can see it. This is, can y'all hear me or not? It says unmute.
Yeah, we got you.
Oh, okay.
I saw that. You copied Jim Duxbury's work.
I did. Look at that. It looks good.
It's beautiful, Jim. It's beautiful.
Yeah, thanks. I thought it turned out good. He had a good article, and I thought, well, my granddaughter needs one. So that's what I did.
Nice.
I love that.
Beautiful piece.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Jim. Thanks for the
You're welcome.
The idea.
You're welcome. I got one like that right here. Very similar. Anyway.
Well, let's take a look at it, Jim.
Oh, yeah. Look at that.
That's the one in the article, probably. This trim piece actually puts smaller pieces of wood together, lets you save some wood. But that's what it looks like inside now.
Very nice.
Lots of fun. Kids love them.
Oh, yeah.
And the neat part of that is
never make too many of them.
I got a neat way of drilling. This isn't drilled on a drill press. This angle is set when this is in the chuck. You turn your tool rest parallel to where you want to draw, where you want to drill, and then start your drill straight. And then as you get the drill started, move the drill over parallel to the tool rest and drill the hole in. I drill these on the lathe by eye, and no problem.
Yeah, the kids love them. That's right. It's kind of like a cardboard box. They love those too.
Yeah.
Right. If you missed it, all those details are in this month's edition of Wood Turning magazine from Great Britain, which I purchased through Amazon. $3.27 a month, and that issue is in my folder and carried anywhere I go. But there's some limitations of what you can do with that. Remember, you're getting a magazine on a computer. Yep. It's only going to go to that one screen and restrictable what you can do to it. But I figured out, I had my granddaughter show me how to copy pages, do photos of pages. That's my 13-year-old genius granddaughter. She came up with that. So thank you, Jim. Beautiful work, Jim. Bob, that's a really nice concept. And we just agreed. You'll never make too many of them. Never.
No. That's right.
And it's one thing to write an article. It's another thing to have people make it. That's a really good feeling. You sure don't make a living doing this. I mean, it's a really good feeling to have somebody else do it. Great job.
Right.
All right, thanks.
All right. Let's go to Mr. Miller in Kentucky. Doug.
Hey, guys. How's everybody tonight?
Good.
The store that I have stuff in, she calls me up and says, your last pen has sold. And so I went down, and sure enough, everything I had that was small is gone. So I've been in the shop this week doing a couple things. One, I made these key rings. They're kind of fun. They unscrew, and you can stash. There it goes. You can roll up a couple dollar bills, or maybe if you have a prescription that you have to take real often. I've got one that I take every day, just one pill. And if I'm going overnight or even a couple of nights, I can drop those down in here, have those with me instead of taking those big old bottles all the time. Of course, if you fly, you got to have your prescription bottle. They kind of frown on medication, not in a prescription bottle. Anyway, along with those, I did a couple of these pens. This is a click pen. Came out real nice. We were talking a while ago about box elder. That's what that is, but it has absolutely no red in it. I don't know where I came up with those, but I've got a whole bunch of these blanks with absolutely no red in them. Did a couple of Wall Street pens. In fact, I've got a pen and a pencil set. The pen is in chrome and the pencil's in gold. I didn't bring it up. But anyway, those are awful nice. Those are made with some oak out of a church pew. I was given the seat part of a church pew. And so I've cut all kinds of blanks out of those. Then I've got 3 cigar pens. Not sure what that is. Some kind of a dark burl.
Beautiful.
It came out really nice. My wife grabbed hold of it. She said, "That's so big and so heavy." I said, "Yeah, that's a cigar pen. That's how they are. That's just the way it is." So these are all gold. So now I've got some smalls for the store. I'm ready to go.
Very nice, Doug. Very nice.
Very nice.
Thank you.
I hope the store owner handed you some money.
When they sell, she does.
Right on, right on. All right, let's go to Mr. DeBro. James, you're up.
How are y'all doing today?
Great.
Pretty
Yeah,
good.
okay. My wife and I had our 50th wedding anniversary about 2 weeks ago. And these are some things I made for it.
Oh, very nice.
2 little wine glasses with captive rings and a gold chain for 50 years. Yeah, nothing fancy, just a little bit of ash that I had laying around.
Yeah.
Like that.
Oh,
So that's good.
Nice.
It's like there's a little bit of curl in there.
Yeah. Yeah, it did come out looking nice. I used Dr. Kirk's polish on it, and it brought the grain out pretty nice.
That's
Yeah,
beautiful.
it looks nice, but everything looking tight.
Yeah,
Very-
it is.
Very
Nice.
romantic.
Thank you.
Nice match there.
Loved it.
Thanks.
And congrats on the anniversary. Both
Thank
of
you, sir.
I've got mine coming up on the 28th.
Okay.
I guess Friday. 28 years.
28. Congratulations.
Yeah, right on. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right.
That's
Let's
what
go
I've
to
got.
Mr. Bundy.
Yes, sir.
Howdy, howdy.
I've been making more containers for what they were supposed to be done for Easter, but they're late.
Well, you're still early.
That's silver maple.
Pretty.
Pretty.
Yeah.
To get a pop fit. Yeah.
She pops.
Yeah.
This
Hard
one is
pop.
off the same branch, except this one had another branch coming out of it, and it was rotten, so I had to fill it.
Yeah, but that's prettier.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Very nice.
Nice pop.
Very nice.
The coffee grounds.
Yep, that's my favorite. It looks like a piece of bark.
Yep.
I had to fill around the top too. This end of it was pretty bad.
Well, you did
That's all I have for today.
Very nice.
All right. Thanks, Charlie.
Yep.
Looks good, Charlie.
All right. Let's go to Mr. Terry. He's on early tonight.
Hey, how you doing? I didn't get on last week. The computer wasn't going well. It kept locking up, so I didn't try to get on anything. I wanted to show, this is just a piece of pecan. Just a little bowl. It's not really have much of a finish on it yet. I keep going back and sanding out a couple of things. I'm still playing with it, but it's coming along pretty good. And I wanted to show you this
too,
one.
isn't it?
I wanted to show you this one. This is my mortise and pestle. You can see the inside of it.
Yeah, it's pretty.
Wow.
That's absolutely a lie. This is just a bowl that I made. And this is a rattle that I made a long time ago and decided that it was dangerous. So I threw it in the scrap pile. I was afraid that the kids were going to put it in their mouth and fall on it. So I said, no, that ain't going to work. And I was threw one in the scrap pile and I saw it sitting there and it fit in there just right. And I said, well, that's pretty nice. I'll just leave it. But the next one I want to show you, you can blame Jim and Ronnie, both of them, for this. Because I love that pieces that Jim made with the thin cut boards and the big flowers and vases that he made. And I thought, well, let me try to make that accordion type board and see how it goes. Well, it didn't go very good. But my bandsaw is not too great. I actually called Jim up and asked him questions. He talked to me for about a half an hour, but kind of hard to teach old dogs new tricks. Anyway, I went working on them and I had the pieces laying there. So I said, well, I might be able to do something with them. So this is what I put together. You can see it, it's about 2 feet tall. And it's reason I said Ronnie is because it's all out of construction lumber. It's all pine 1x and 2x4s. And I just spread it out there and kind of see the end of it.
Looks great.
Looks good. That's a wall sconce.
Thinking about actually, yeah, just for a wall. I was thinking of wall stanch, and I actually thought about a light, and I dropped a puck light in it and shut the lights off. It looked pretty good. They can move it around. I don't know what I'll do with it yet. I'm thinking it needs to be painted in some kind of a rainbow color, but my painting schemes aren't very good. But anyway, it was kind of fun to do. And
nice idea.
Sure, looks nice.
Got a full video coming out on this, or a full thing coming out on it in a wood turning magazine. And the reason I'm taking this is I'm going to flip the camera around and show you the second attempt I made of it. I hung it on the refrigerator because it's too big to put anywhere else. You can see.
Oh, cool.
Oh, fabulous.
I would make a nice clock.
Yeah, it would make a nice clock. It just, I don't know, I just made a base and it's all out of 2x4. I actually broke one of the things trying to adjust it. And then when I tried to glue it back together, I glued the center medallion to the table. And when I tried to get it out, I broke it. So I had to make another medallion to put over the top of it.
That is cool.
They were kind of fun. I couldn't see throwing them away. They were just, like I said, they were just samples just testing. Let me put that back. And that's pretty much what I did. I had a lot of things going on around the house. And then I got feeling poorly for a couple of weeks, but I'm doing better. And that's what I was playing with. And maybe Jim gets the article out in a magazine, I'll learn how to do it a little better. And maybe I'll get some good wood. Instead of using pine, that's all I had. Down here, we don't have good wood down here. It's kind of like gold down here. I think they sell it by the ounce. I got one mahogany board about 5/4 by 6 inches wide, about 4 feet long, and I've had it for about 4 or 5 years. I keep it in a gun safe, and I'm afraid to use it because I can't find it anymore. I look at it a lot, though. It's pretty.
Great job, anyway. Really
That's
nice.
all I got.
Thanks,
guys.
Terry.
Thank you, Terry. Everything looks great.
Who's up, Dane? Can't hear you.
Dave Kingsley put down that he had something to show.
Who's got it?
Your mouth weren't moving, but you're not talking. I don't hear nothing.
There he is.
There he is.
You got me now?
Yep.
I'm here. But
Well,
you're on.
Yeah, that's
I don't
good.
like showing an unfinished piece, but I was halfway through the walnut lid when I got interrupted by Grandpa Daycare. So this is as far as I got.
Is that walnut?
This is just a piece of oak. I mean, it was a really crappy looking piece when I saw it in the shop today, and I says, oh, I think there's something in the middle of that might be worthwhile.
Yes.
So,
beautiful.
But
beautiful.
That's a good start. Maybe by next week I'll be able to have the lid done for you.
There you go.
But that's it for this
week. There you go, Grandpa.
All right, thank you, Dave. All right, now let's try to go back to Riss Fleming here. Riss, how you doing, buddy? Look at there.
Doing okay? Can you hear me okay?
Yes,
there
I
we
hear
go.
You.
So I'm new to the group, and I've got a couple things that just this last week I had some leftovers from an end grain cutting board. So it's just cherry, walnut, and basswood, and I figured it'd be kind of fun to do matched. Can you see them okay? There you go. Just match. I haven't drilled the tops yet. I can't decide what shape to make, if I want to do a little P or the S, or if I just want to do a flower. But my brother has started really getting pretty good at blacksmithing. So he sent me the top part, that twisted piece. And I was like, you know what? I'll just turn him a real simple handle, try to set that off. So it's just a plain white oak. Yeah. So
nice. Very nice. Fun.
You're both really good.
Thank you.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, so that's all I've got on hand. But
it's nice that you and your brothers hobbies go together like that. That is awesome.
Yeah, it's kind of fun.
Definitely.
It's what?
I said, welcome to the group. It's great to see another female.
Yes. Hey, we're out there. We're out here. We're
taking over.
Right.
Thanks for sharing.
All right.
I'll have something else next week.
Sounds good.
All right.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
All right. Let's go to Mr. Kenny.
Howdy.
Tom, where you at?
Can you hear me?
You're in there 3 times. Which one do I take?
I don't know. I'm having computer issues.
How about that one?
Gotcha.
That'll work. I had a piece of, hold on.
You can't hear us?
I had a piece of Bradford pear laying around for too long, and it started to crack. But I turned a little holoform out of it and was able to do some pyrography to kind of hide the cracks.
Oh my goodness.
Beautiful.
Now there's a fella I've seen on Instagram, Vinny Luciani, that is really doing some great stuff, very similar style, and that's where I got the inspiration from this, and of course, Molly Winton as well.
You're going quiet.
Yeah,
wow.
Sorry about that.
It's beautiful.
That is gorgeous.
Thank you very much. And that's finished with a Parfix 3408.
Oh, nice.
Very nice.
Yeah,
That's
the
it.
grain really looks
Yes.
good in that Bradford pear.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Nice.
Can you see the cracks?
Oh,
Good.
No way.
can't
There's a
tell.
crack.
Spot on. Spot on.
Got a crack on the bottom.
And it ran up the side, but I hit it pretty well.
Yeah.
Yep.
Did it beautifully.
Did you
It's a
make
feature. It's a
your,
feature.
did you
It's a
make your
feature.
coil to do the branding?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
I had, this was 20 gauge. I tried a couple of different wires and settled on the 20 gauge. And it was a repurposed battery charger.
That resistant bar, is that what they call that? Nickel?
Nichrome.
Yeah,
Nichrome.
nichrome wire.
I use
Nichrome. Yeah,
And they
that's
call
good.
this thing the vaporizer, and they're not kidding. You turn it up, and it looks like a light bulb.
I bet. And was that Bradford pear you said, Tom?
Yes, sir.
Yep. Does that answer your question, Robin? Take silence as yes.
Silence is golden.
Yep. Right on, Tom. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Would have made a good video.
I bet.
All right,
Yes,
Eddie,
would have.
all right,
Yes,
Eddie,
would have.
let's go back to you here. That's a
I'd
joke
like
between me and Tom.
to see. Okay, I'd like to see. I like to see the paragraph done when folks are making their own wires and or cutters or elements, and how it's done. That might be an interesting brief demonstration for one evening, just to expand all our horizons a little bit. Because each week we being the world's greatest group of woodturners ever, we try to bring little things to the table that we can all improve or enhance our work with, and things we can try. Tonight we've been blessed by, Jim Duxbury turned out 2 projects, and 2 turners turned out his projects, and it's so complimenting when you see. Jim said himself, it's nice when you do it, but then when you see that other people are doing it, it's really nice. So we'll get more of that. Right now, it's just about the top of the hour. And that's my old radio days where you're supposed to do that at the time, top of the hour and all that. But right now, we have to go to Florida and get an update from our from our safety director, Safety Sue Jilek. Safety, are you there?
Hey, everybody.
There you are, girl.
I want to go back to basics. I haven't been turning for a few months because of my eyes. And last month, I was told that on my right eye, I shouldn't even be driving. Obviously, I haven't been turning. I'm not going to turn at 2,000 RPMs and not be able to see what I'm doing. But I got good news this week, and that my right eye, that was 2150 with glasses, went down to 2070, so I can actually see. And so I played for, I know, I was surprised. So I did play for an hour with some pine. I talked to Mark Soleil this week. He said, Sue, remember centers. And so I played with some pine. I don't go more than an hour, otherwise my eyes wear out. But I'm getting there. So we're going to go back to basics. I know a lot of you turn a lot will think, oh God, do I really have to? But the big thing, and we all forget about safety issues, is what do we do after we've got the thing between centers on the lathe? How fast is that lathe going to go? Well, the thing is, it should be starting at 0. Stand to the side and then turn up your lathe so that if it does fly out, it's not going to hurt you. And then from there, find out how you're going to turn it and use the proper tools. So this week is, let's go back to basics. Make sure that your lathe is on 0 speed when you go to turn that piece, whether it be a piece that's going to be spindle or a bowl or whatever. It's back to basics, folks, because all we have to do is forget once and have that bowl or spindle come flying out and hitting us in the face. Mm-hmm. On another note, I want to thank Tom Kenny for sending me a very nice email, and he suggested sharing a part of the email with y'all one night, and I will be. It's not going to be tonight. But he did say something about the 3M VersaFlow helmet and respirator on eBay. So I did actually win a bid. It wasn't the one that he had suggested. It was one up a little bit. So I got at a lot less, more than half the price of the retail for an box on eBay. And I should get it for the next couple of months.
Wow.
In the next couple of days. And what I wanted it for, yes, I can have hearing, helmet, face, breathing, and it's really going to protect stuff from going in my eyes. Even with, safety glasses, I would get stuff in my eyes. So even with a shield on. So I'm looking forward to it. Thanks, Tom. I appreciate it. And folks, let's be safe this week, even if it means looking over each other and contacting them. And I'm gratified for everything that you guys teach me. And let's be safe this week, because I definitely want to see you next week.
Thank you, Sue.
Good, Sue. Thank you, Sue.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Sue.
All right, Eddie. Let's go back to you, and then I think from you, I think we probably ought to get started with our
with Mr. Burt
update, and then we need to get with Mr. Burt for his eccentric demo.
Okay. All right. We'll do that. You just right now, for members who are just joining us, Reese is joining us, and she's a new member. Welcome. Everybody's welcome. Bring a friend. You know somebody else that turns? Tell them about us. Tell us to join us. It's free. It's a great time. It's a bunch of old friends sitting on a tailgate in the parking lot telling stories and sharing a lot of information. And we do just that. Sue's our safety director. Sue volunteered to take that position to help us out. Dane does our demonstrations. He helps us put together. Folks like Brenda help with bringing in members and assigning classifications to, for codes, etc. We have a handful of members like this. And we also have members like Gary in Oklahoma. He records this entire program so that if we have any technical difficulties like that, that we have another source to get the meeting put onto our website. So, and if you have any information that you want to share on our website, got to keep one thing in mind, folks. It's your club. There's nothing written on the wall that says you can't. It's just your club. Remember the rules. You got to be nice. Got to be kind. No profanity whatsoever. And that's the key to keeping this all friendly. I see Tim Hatch is in a group this evening, and he reminded us that SWAT is coming up August 25th through the 27th in Waco, Texas. The AAW is coming up in just a couple of weeks in Louisville, Kentucky. And I'm looking for an AAW attendee that I can send about 150 stickers to, so they can give them away at the AAW symposium. If they bump the members and say, "What are you doing?" I'm with the club, and this club too, and invite them to come find us and join us. And so we look. If you're interested in doing that for us, there will be no cost involved. We will mail you. I will mail you. We will mail you the stickers and get it all set up for you. I've got a handful of folks that's going to do Waco with me, and that's right. I'm going to be there. Boy, am I glad Doug says something about carrying prescription medication, not in the prescription bottles. I'd be doing time at Sing Sing. Get down to one pill a day. Come on, Doug.
What can I say?
But yeah, hey, my basket gets bigger about a week and more expensive about a month. But I'm above the grass. Positive. Because you know what? Today I heard from Gary. Gary's in the Bobenhouse, and he's in with us tonight. He was asking me why we didn't cash his check for the stickers. Management was procrastinating, but we got it all done. We're caught up. Every order we have as of right now is in the mail, honestly. And we will do more. Just check our website for more details. But this is a gathering of friends. There's no sponsors. There's no hierarchy, no membership roster or list or qualifications or anything else. If you turn wood, if you enjoy turning wood, if you enjoy visiting, this is the club to belong to. Really is. And we have it this way because of you. Because I sat at a convention, a symposium 4 years ago, and realized nobody had the tailgate down. Nobody was inviting folks to come visit. And we started, I was told this won't work. Hey, there's 76 people there. It's proving that wrong, isn't it? So I want to thank you all for being part of this. We have a little fun, but hey, you know, the fun continues even when we disappear from Wednesday to Wednesday, because everything we have that we share, we send that information or is gathered by our master webmaster. David Rhodes is our webmaster, and David, that's not David. David Rhodes. Yep. I got to bump that one out. David is a webmaster. He puts all kinds of stuff there. David, can you give us an update of what we're looking at on the website right now?
Sure. Let me see if I can share a screen. I'm going to try to give it up here. I wanted to point out to folks that where you can find things, make it a little easier on you. And let's see, there's someplace or other I can choose share screen, and right there, I think. And if you can see that, I just wanted to point out that you can find lots of strange things here. Like if you push this button, you can find the list of all the addresses you can send the Freedom Pens to. If you happen to want to find out what the events are, we've got an event list here. If you're looking for the contact list, I'm going to go there particularly and point it out. And I don't want this to become too boring, so I won't take too much time. People seem to come to this page and fill this out and send me a message to say, send me one because I can't figure out how to find it. But if you click this button right here, a special form comes up. And if you fill this thing out, you get the results almost right away. It'll take like 3 minutes and the site automatically sends it. You send your name, your email, the subject, but the subject has to be a very specific thing. You can't see it here, by gosh, let me see, okay. Insert the subject line, which is captain. You put in captain, capital C-A-P-T-A-I-N. And yes, I'm the one that chose that, not Eddie. And if you put in this phrase right here, and you unclick this, I make you do all these stupid things to try to keep the bots from finding this list. And you submit it, it'll send you a copy of the list right away. And I just wanted to point that out to anybody that wants the contact list. You can keep it up. I know I've got to add 2 names to it right after the meeting because I got 2 new addresses yesterday and I didn't do it yet. I hate to admit it, I'm kind of lazy. Anyway, I just wanted to point that out, that we got things like the events list. If you want to be included in the events list, I know we've got some items here. Most of it's just us, but I'd love to add something else that relates to you. If you've got something that you want to see added to the list. Am I overdoing it? We've got a gallery. And then if you want to find out what some of the tools are that people have been sending in, I've got a separate gallery that shows some of the tools that people have been sending in. And this is the big one for me. I think it's a real mess to try to follow it. If you try to enter FYI, you can glance down at things. Anytime somebody puts something in the chat, I try to get the address out of it, and then I put it under one of these categories, and you can kind of glance down and see it. Now, some of the categories, I don't put a picture for everything because we'll have 3 or 4 different bottles that show up as black ink, and I don't want to show 34 copies of that, so I'll have 1 or 2 of them sitting there. But you can kind of find a lot of those things. It's also possible to grab the chat. I don't need to tell you you can't grab the chat. The chat, let me see if I can find the chat. If you go to the home page, let me go back to the home page. It'll take forever. And you'll look right about there. It says chat. And it has a list of all the chats for 3 years. And you can click on one, you can open it up, you can download it. And just wanted everybody to know where they can find the chat. It's fairly easy to find. It's on the home page. and click this thing and find the chat that you need. I hope that gave people some information on where they can find things. Oh, if you don't want to go to the pictures over here, there's an alternate option. You can look by category, kinda, like project materials and miscellaneous equipments, and that would be things like the engravers. I mean, yeah. But if you went here, you'd find things like chucks and centers and whatever. And we've got finishing materials people have been mentioning. They're all the things that you find under the pictures. I just sort of put them down by category. That's about all I wanted to mention right now. I'm going to probably try doing something like this every week, and I'll go to particular pages and point it out to you to remind you and say,
oh, great idea.
Do visit it. And I won't take so much time next time.
Oh, no worries. It's great info.
Okay.
That's a good looking web page
Yes,
we got.
thanks. Thanks, Dave.
Okay, my pleasure.
You do great, Dave.
I have one question on that whole subject. Where else in the world will you find that? Where else in the world will you find that? Yeah, thank you, Dave. He's our master webmaster because of that, and he only does that well because of you. He can't share things he doesn't have. And I saw little blurbs in there about Matt Harbour and Joaquin and all the other members. And these folks aren't getting paid to do any of this. They're doing just like we want you to do, share the information. In fact, for that, we go to our members for demonstrations, and only our members. We don't pay for them. We get the best, and we get the best at a real good price. And this evening, we're heading to Alamo. To the Alamo? Are we going to the Alamo, Dane?
Somewhere down there in Texas.
Alamo City, San Antonio.
Alamo City. There we go. Let's go to Alamo City. Hey, Billy. Welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
As always.
Before I get started on my little demo, I thought I'd do my show.
Your mic is low.
Can't hear me.
Not well.
I've got it up as far as I can get it.
Man, I know how this feels.
Yeah, well, I don't know if it's my internet or what's going on, but can you hear me?
Yeah,
You're just
proceed.
low.
Go on. Everybody needs to pay attention and don't talk or override anything Billy is doing, please.
Okay, a little piece of ash, just a little natural edge bowl. It's got some light spalting in it. It didn't have any bark, so I burnt it. I also burnt and then sanded back the outside. And I used my new laser to do my logo in the bottom. Anyway, that's my show and tell. Now we'll get on with why we're really here. This is just a little piece of oak. It's kind of funny in shape, but I've got an idea for this, for a pendant. So let's get to that. Sue, I'm sorry, but my lathe doesn't start at 0. It starts at 50. The first thing I'm going to do is a rough shaping. Okay, I'm getting that down the way I want it. So now, I'm going to smooth it up a little bit. I've got a ridge right here that I don't want. I'm going to do a quick sand on this with some 120. Smooth it up a little. I have my dust collector on. Almost got the cart before the horse.
Oh.
Okay, this is in zero orientation, what I call my 0-0 starting point. It's centered in the jaw at my number 1 registration mark, and I've got this set at number 1 as well. And I set this so that it was parallel to the chuck itself. So my the first designs I'm going to cut into this will be centered on this little piece. I have an idea for this pendant. We'll see if it turns out. And I have discovered with this that sometimes less is more. So we're not going to put a whole lot of cuts in it. I'm using a 1/4 inch round detail gouge. That I've freshly sharpened, so I should be getting very nice cuts. And they are. So now that that's done, the fun begins. What do you mean, Billy? If I use the right wrench. So we're going to loosen this. I'm going to keep this in number 1. No, I'm not. I forgot what I was doing for a second. I'm going to move this down to number 3, I think. And I'm going to turn this so that it's now perpendicular. I'm going to line my point up with the slot so that I know it's perpendicular. Okay, I'm going to use the top instead. That puts me about right there. Tighten this back up. And you see it's really funky. My center point is right there, which happens to be about so. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come off center, and I'm going to come out here and cut another one.
Oh, darn it.
One more out here. Because as a pendant, it's going to be in my vision. This will be where I hang it, and I will do some shaping around here and sand this up. Everybody follow?
We're working on it. Yep.
Okay. So this will be the pendant. I'll drill my hole in here. I'll do some shaping to ease these corners a little bit. And I'll get that all sanded up after the fact. I don't really want to take up a whole lot of time doing the working on sanding with this because I've got a few things I want to try. But what I will do I'm going to want to park this off about right here. Lateral pressure. These things do not like lateral pressure. So I've got a mark where I can put this on my bandsaw and cut this off. And I will have to sand this up by hand, but you get the idea of what I'm going for here. Right?
Kind of. Unfortunately, your internet is freezing up, so the video is real choppy, Billy.
You know, I don't understand that because I'm hardwired in.
Blame the electromagnetic storm this week. It screwed up a lot of my internet too.
I was going to say they're having a major solar storm this week. That's why the Aurora Borealis is showing in 30 states, which it really messes up the internet.
Yeah, just keep plugging away, Billy.
I am, I will. Okay, I'm connected through my hard line and my Wi-Fi. So hopefully that'll help. It may not.
Your voice has gotten louder.
Good. You know, it works fine when I'm recording. I don't get it. I just don't get it. I'm supposed to have good internet out here.
Yeah, it never fails, you know.
Yep. Okay, this is not a level piece of acrylic. This is epoxy resin. So first thing I need to do is turn it flat. And anybody that's turned much resin knows that resin likes scrapers. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use a scraper and just get this flat. I suppose I could have done this ahead of time, huh?
No, it's a good learning experience for other folks.
For those of you that are thinking about turning resin, if you haven't before, based on my experience, it really likes scrapers and it likes slightly dull tools. If you try to start cutting resin with a tool right off of the grinder, it's going to want to grab more, and you'll get a chirpy or a chippy sound. The sound you want sounds like you're rubbing gently a piece of sandpaper across the wood. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I find when
Go ahead.
When you do a fresh scraper off the grinder, you then go on top and take that burr off. It really helps.
Right.
Billy, is that sharpened as a negative rake?
It is. It's a 1 1/4 inch fat Benjamin's Best round nose scraper that I reground for negative rake. Now, that is roughly shaped. Except for the edge. As long as you're getting ribbons, you know you're cutting it right. If it starts flinging chips at you, you know you're not. Well, seriously? My double stick tape ain't sticking too good. And I had that pressed on there well. Only on a demo.
Yep.
Billy, you need the whole end of that thing covered with double stick tape. I used two pieces.
You may be right there, Jim. But lesson learned, right? All right, what I'm going to do, I know it's not centered anymore. It's as close as I could get it by eye, which isn't close enough. But it doesn't matter because we're doing eccentric stuff. And this will all be sanded up off camera and taken care of there. Now, this is a freshly sharpened gouge. So yeah, it's pretty close. So I'm going to put, you hear that?
Yep.
Hear the
Chirpy
squeak?
sound.
Yeah, that chirpy sound. It was initially not cutting well, but now it is. So I'll put another one here. Let's see, there it goes again. It does not like really sharp tools. It don't. So now, I'll do similar to what we did before, except I'm only going to move it down one, and I'm going to turn it 6. And I'll put one here. And one here. And you see you've got kind of a, ooh, that's, nope, that was another one. Now I will go, I'll keep it in the same orientation this way, but I'll take it back to center and you'll see it's still off. So it's still off. And I'll make 2 more cuts. I think here. Here. And then I will try to put that back in the original spot and clean this up. Wish me luck.
Right. Just might have to make a larger groove.
Yeah, maybe. We shall see. Okay, so back in number 1. Now, I have this always on jaw number 1, regardless. So I don't know that it would make a difference if I set it up for jaw 3 or not, but I don't want to take that chance.
Yep.
Hey, that's pretty good. That's the one I need to clean up, I think. Yep. All right. And I will. Okay. And what I will do is I will wet sand off camera. I will wet sand this. I wet sand all of my resins. The only way to do it.
Yep.
Groove got a little bigger than I wanted, but that's all right too. And all the chip out is gone. And the rest of that will sand up nicely. But you can see that, there's a blown out piece right there. But you can see the number of different cuts. And if this was, once this is shaped into a pendant style, it will have a really interesting look.
Kind of looks like a flower.
Yeah, kind of. Is that my center hook cut right there? Yeah, I can clean that up. They can clean that up. Well, not like that, you can't. Not like that, you can't, fat boy. One more.
There you go. One more pass.
Yeah, famous last words.
Yeah. Oh, you got this. Just like
don't say that. Yeah, don't say that one more cut. Don't say
that. Reflect back to my last demo. You know, it's treat every cut as the last pass, and then you won't be fearful of it.
Okay, there we go. I think I'm going to live with
Billy,
that.
we have some questions about what do you mean wet sand? I know, but why don't you explain what you mean wet sand?
Oh, wow. Wow. That oozed. Okay, for wet sanding, I use, well, I will dry sand like I normally do up to about 320. And then I have a bucket. I keep all of my micro mesh in. And what I will do is, let me change camera. What I'll do is I have this little tub, and I keep my micro mesh in it. And so I'll take all of that out, and I will fill this with water. I'll fill it. I'll put about that much water in it. And then I throw my 400, and I throw my 400 and all of my micro mesh pads in it. And they get nice and wet. And I will put some protection down on top of the lathe bed so that it doesn't get wet. I've got a piece of plastic that I can do the lathe with. And once I do that, then I will go through these grits, 400 all the way up to, I think it's 12,000 in the micro mesh. And I go through all of these grits one at a time. I spend more time at 400 than I do anywhere else. And I'll spend about half that time the next micro mesh grit, which is 1,500. Yeah. And so on. And then I go, and then I don't spend very much time at all on the last one. It's just enough to get a nice slurry, and you'll always get a slurry. That's how you know micro mesh is cut. A lot of people say, with grit that fine, you're not going to get anything off that. All you're doing is burnishing. I beg to differ because you don't get a slurry from a burnish. As long as the sandpaper's cutting, you know what it's doing. And you can see that because it'll create a slurry on that micro mesh pad. So that's what I mean by wet sand. I use water. I know a number of wood turners that actually wet sand their wood, believe it or not. I haven't.
I've wet sanded my finish, and I had a friend of mine who was in his shower for a long time, and his wife said, "What are you doing in the shower so long?" It turns out he was in the shower with a piece of wood wet sanding it.
Yeah, if I was his wife, I'd be concerned as well.
Yeah, I would too.
Right?
I would too. I'm going to.
Now, Billy, is that centerpiece that you just had out, is that cut at an angle? I'm not quite certain what that centerpiece does.
Okay, this centerpiece here.
That's the tenon that holds it.
Right. This is the tenon. This part here is the tenon that fits inside here. And this clamps down on it so that it doesn't twist. So when you tighten the chuck up, because you've only got 2 jaws on here, it actually tightens this down like it was a collet chuck. And it tightens it onto this tenon. I've got these cut so that they don't quite protrude the full distance of this piece of 3/4 inch oak, but they could, because there's a little room under in the bottom of the chuck. But I've made several of these up, and just I made several of them up because I wanted to be able to do more than one thing, especially for tonight. What I'm doing right now is I am putting a couple more pieces of tape on that one that came off, the first one that came off, because I've got something special I want to do, if it'll hold. And I will start turning this one while I'm letting this other one. This tape sets by pressure. So I'm going to put some pressure on it on my other lathe after I get the tape off. You know, it's always something. You got always something.
Billy, also it helps to sand and even put a coat of finish on the back, because it gives you a good surface to grab onto.
I haven't thought about that, but I understand it. It makes sense. And I will.
Have we lost that?
I've got that setting up. I'm going to do something else. I'm not going to use this one right now. I may not use this one at all. I wanted to try something. Last week, Jim said that the angle I had on this one, it's an eccentric angle for sure. He said it might be a little too eccentric. Well, it might be, but we're going to try it. So instead of the chuck body that's in here, like this one, is flat. I made sure it was flat on the lathe. So all of these are flat except this one. This one is at maybe 10, 15 degrees. I didn't check it exactly. But what that's going to give you, and this is thickness, it is flat, so I'm not worried about that. But what that will give you in an exaggerated form is this. And the wood I'm using is just scrap pieces of, this is ash juniper for now. One of those was oak. But see how you don't get a complete circle?
Yeah, yeah.
Because it's angled. So now, let's do the same thing we did before. Let's move it down a notch. If you got the chuck loose enough, you can do that. Come on, turn loose. Behave. And I'm keeping this at the 0 mark on here. So I'm not at 0, 0 anymore. I'm at 1, 0. And you see that makes a little bit of difference.
Yeah, boy.
So let's try this. I fell into the same groove. That may be funny. Yeah, overcut it. And if you practice with this and play with this some, you can figure out where to set it so that you get offsetting. And I didn't make, I'll show you what I mean. I didn't make enough marks on this. So I'm going to have to eyeball. I have now flipped this 180 degrees. That should be really close to 180 right there.
Using pencil marks helps show that.
Well, I have marks on the backs of my, chucks, but I didn't go all the way around. And I did this using the indexing capability of my 2014. It comes out to 15 degrees.
Yeah, no, I meant where the tool's going to cut. Just put a pencil up there and you can see where the tool's going to cut.
Oh, yes. So this should give me just exactly opposite of the ones that I just cut. Or really close. And it did. You can see that you've got this double design coming in here.
Right, it's overlapping.
Right. That's kind of a neat look.
Yeah, it is. It's like a book match, except it's the image is flipped.
That's real cool.
Right. And one of the things I see with this is with a little bit bigger, back to 1, with a little bit bigger diameter piece up here, I can easily see where I could take a 5 or 6 inch bowl and do the brown paper back glue thing and glue my bowl blank to that and move this and get a bowl that looks thicker on one side than the other.
Right. Yeah, I see that.
Oh my goodness, what do we have? I have put this on my laser. My daughter told me, she said, Dad, she said, and I didn't center this on my marks, so I'm going to have to go by eye. But my daughter told me, she said, Dad, if you want to turn things that girls are going to like, she said, more women wear earrings than they do pendants. So, that being the case, I burnt this design in this piece of wood today, because I want to try making some cuts in here. Now, the tricky part, doing it while it's on center is easy. The tricky part is going to be when I move it off center, making them so that they look the same. So that when I cut these out on my scroll saw, I have a set of earrings that are book matched. So I've not tried this before. This is completely experimental. I may be
Yeah.
let's just say relieving myself into the wind.
Yeah.
You are fearless.
Who, me?
Yeah, you.
I don't mind experimentation. I really don't.
Let's call it adventurous.
Yeah. So far, that's not bad.
Nope.
That's not bad. So I got it pretty close. So we'll do the same thing we did a minute ago. I'll move this one notch. And I want to keep it centered. I need to not be such a perfectionist. Okay. It would help if I had my tool rest high enough, wouldn't it? So I want to make this one here. Make this one here. Now I'm going to try to not move my tool rest, and there's a reason. Because where I did those last ones, I want to make that cut there and this cut here. When I get this turned around. Does that make sense?
Yep.
That way I know I'm cutting in the exact same spot. Except 180 out. Did I lose anybody?
No, you're good. We're going to have this on replay.
Okay. Exact same spot. So my cut goes here. And my cut goes here.
Cool.
See how that's not a bad match. It's not perfect, but it's really close. See how you've got the two different intersections here. The just kisses the outside here, comes in. That's pretty close. It's not a perfect book match, but
Close enough for a right ear and a left ear, right?
I think so. Nobody will, I mean, you won't be able to notice. And so with these burn lines in here, I'll be able to take this to my scroll saw and scroll these out and then sand them up. I'm going to shape them a little bit smaller because I think these are a little big, but I will work all of that out and then do all of my sanding and drilling my hole, all that stuff. But I think that's going to work.
Cool. I love what you're doing with this jig.
Now,
that's a fantastic jig.
It is a great jig.
Duxbury created a monster with it.
Yes.
Now,
yeah, but
very benign. It's a very benign and glorious monster.
Yeah, he's a genius. I just love it.
Right.
Now,
I know, right?
Now let's get crazy. Now I'm at 2-0. I didn't make any cuts at 0-0.
2 1/4 to that.
Too high. Okay. So I'll make it back here. And I'll make it back here.
2.5 inch. I got 3 inch.
And we'll go to 4. Actually, it's still at 1, 1, 1. Instead of 0, 0. Well, I was at 3, 1. So
this is not adding up.
So go 2 more because I went 2 knots the first time. 2 more this time. That's really going to throw it out there. See what I mean?
This is not.
And my center point is right there. So I'm going to come in here. This thing is really propellering right now at this point. I can feel the wind off of it. So I didn't turn the other chuck, the inside part. I didn't turn it at all. All I did was move the chuck down, and you get these nice concentric rings all over there. In fact, I think I need one more. And I need to make this one a little bit.
Oh, that's cool.
And that was just moving it down. There was no twist in here at all. And I don't really think I want to twist it. So my hat is off for Jim Duxbury for this ingenious device, because it is an ingenious device. There's no question about it. And all of the rest of the stuff go away.
Billy, if you'd have stayed on that same center, your first center, your second center, if you'd have stayed on that second center and indexed the whole piece 180 degrees, you'd have turned the same 2 rings on the other side that would have matched those 2.
Yes. Right. So you'd have this way and that way. So they
overlapping.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Gotcha. I got you. Nobody likes a flat road. You can make these into brochures too, by the way, not just things. Give it a little slope. Yeah, cut away some of the lines, but look. See how much cleaner it is now? And that is a cool look.
Sure is.
Yeah.
And if
That is a cool look.
you can spray it black, you spray it black now and then sand that, and you'll highlight them.
So it's basically, this jig is it is so versatile. Just think, I mean, anything you can imagine, or anything you can come up with, try it. I mean, that's all I'm going to say. Is you just got to try it. It's your imagination is your only limitation. It takes turning to a whole different level. Because, I mean, come on, earrings like this, once you sand them down, they will look just as cool as what I just did. Putting a little bit of a dome on that, you can put a dome on these when you're sanding them up. And so there's an endless number of possibilities that literally endless number of possibilities we can come up with on this thing, because you've got a good, each of my marks on that rectangular piece of oak is a 1/4 inch apart. So I've got 1.5 inches of play there. So I can move that in a 1/4 inch increments up to 1.5 inches and completely change the dynamic of whatever it is I've got on the turn. Whether, like I said, it's a small bowl with a 1-inch rim on one side and an 1/8 inch on the other, or pendants, or brooches, or earrings, or wall hangers. You can piece together any number of possibilities there. So, that's pretty much it. I didn't want to take too much of your time. I wanted to show you some of the things that you can accomplish with this jig, because it's phenomenal. I mean, it just is.
Billy, great job. Way to be adventurous.
Thank you very much, Billy. That was great.
Yes, I loved it.
Super.
I appreciate the opportunity as always.
Very insightful. Very insightful.
I hope my internet and my audio got better.
No.
No.
Billy,
but
so,
still,
hey, Billy, so
you're
so
fine,
you're gonna,
Billy.
come
We
on
got
now.
it all.
We got the idea though. That's great.
Billy, are you going to you're going to finish them up and show us the final results next week?
Yes.
Right on, right on.
No, I can't, Dane. Maybe in 2 weeks.
In a couple weeks.
We're leaving.
Hey, Billy.
Maybe in 2 weeks. We're going on a cruise.
No, that's fine. Yeah, because there's a lot of action, with folks wanting to see the end results. So especially the earring.
Yeah. Hey, Billy.
Yes.
Could you? I mean, it's just for an idea. Instead of doing the cutting, just use a marker, some kind of a marker for each cut, and then go back. That way you don't, all you'd have to do is sand off that little piece of paper or the piece of block of wood.
Yes, and I did that when I experimented the first time.
I understand.
I used a pencil and I played around with it to see.
Yeah, that way all you got to do is sand it off a little bit, and you can start all over. You don't have to remove everything.
Exactly, and if you're using a pencil, you don't even have to sand it. Denatured alcohol will actually take it right off the hook.
All right, thanks for answering me.
Not a problem.
Yeah.
Hey Billy, can you hold up the resin piece again?
I got a little bit hard with it. It chipped out in some places. See there?
Yeah, I saw that.
See that chip out? That's,
yep.
I call that a fail because there's no amount of sanding that's going to get that out. What I might have to do is put it back in the chuck.
Yeah, recarb it. Yep.
And recarb it, turn on it a little bit more.
Or you could probably do it by hand with the Dremel.
I could, but it's thick enough that I've got some room to play.
Okay, you got enough meat there. Yeah, right on.
I think I've got enough meat to play with, so I can put it back on the lathe.
Well, hey, very good. Hey, and then another thing too is, Dave, can you clip out the section where Billy was talking about not having a super sharp scraper when he was cutting the resin? That's a good flip out video.
Absolutely.
Oh, and
okay.
Sharp and standard tools as well. I mean, your gouges, you don't want them to razor sharp. Get them a little bit dull on a bowl or something, and then turn it.
You're right, but the main thing is after you sharpen it, you need to go on top of the scraper and take that burr off, and that'll take away 90% of that catchiness on it.
Right.
So great job, Billy. Very insightful. You had a lot of tips and good technique and making shavings and making some beautiful pieces.
Thanks.
What's wonderful, Billy, is that you've showed us all how Jim Duxbury jig works.
You made me look good.
And gave us some new ideas too.
Made me look good.
So now we all want to make the jigs. So
that's right.
Jim, you don't need my help to look good, buddy.
And thank you, Billy.
Yeah. Well, after we're done here with Billy, we're going to go to Mr. Duxbury, and I think he's going to add some more tidbits about the jig. So, does anybody else have any questions? Speak now, forever hold your peace. All right, everybody say thank you to Billy. Give him a round of applause, please.
Thank you, Billy.
Thanks, Billy.
Thank you, Billy.
We're going to go to Jim. We're going to go to Jim now.
Kenny asked me a question, and I missed it.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Let me put you back.
Oh, no, he just made a comment. Oh, okay. Thank you, Tom. My bad.
Oh, okay. No worries. All right, let's go back to Jim Duxbury, the inventor of this jig.
Yeah.
Hey, Jim. I created all this trouble.
Great job, Billy. You're under duress too with your. I know how that feels too.
Right. Yeah, we all do.
Anyway.
Like under the gun.
Anyway, just a couple suggestions. I sand the back and I put a coat of finish on it. It just makes it bond better, and also use two pieces of tape. It just makes it stick better. But anyway, that's just. This is two pieces put together. It's a Purple Heart and maple, and a burn line to conceal the joint. So when you turn through it, you get the background in a different color. That's fun to do. And this is a domed piece, so that you get, this is actually the center. This is like what Billy did with the offset mandrel. But then you get two cuts on here to make a scallop. And these are just pieces glued together. I make these cuts with a flat skew, a 1/4 inch skew, laid down flat. And here's the point of it. This is another one. These are just glued up pieces of junk kicking around. We don't throw anything out here. And the last one he did a section. He did a circle here. This is the main circle. And then he did 2 circles. And then he offset this and he cut a bigger one. If he would have just rotated this over, he'd have cut the same 2 circles and had it on this other side opposite each other. And that's interesting. The other thing is on my chuck, on this chuck, I put an end stop on it so that when I want to come back to 0, once you get this all centered and you're centered here and you get everything lined up, you clamp it all down and then you screw this end piece on here. And that gives you, so you don't have to monkey around with lines and things. That gives you an end stop. You can come back to 0 no matter what, anytime. Okay?
Yeah, looks good.
This is the advanced class.
Oh,
wait.
There's the new one you made.
Oh, you're concentrating on life now.
No, wait. Before we get into that,
yeah, we saw it.
This is a piece of maple. I turned a bowl, and instead of before I put the base on here, I turned a tenon, which is the same as this, same as this tenon that goes in my chuck. So once I put this, then I can mount this in my chuck. And then I can offset this whole thing sideways through the chuck jaws. So once you turn the bowl round, and then you offset, this is offset a 1/2 inch. So you get an oval on the outside.
Oh, that's cool.
Now, Jim, would you leave the corners sharp, or would you round off the corners to make it more oval?
This is sharp.
Okay, all right. So
that's
you've got 2. Okay, so you've left them sharp. You haven't adjusted it at all. Okay, thanks.
You mean on here?
Right.
Yeah. No, this is sharp on this. This is. You can't go too offset because you're going to put a round bowl. You can't turn the inside oval too. Okay. That's another.
Oh, you could.
That's another jig, guys. You have to hold. Anyway.
Jim, I have 2 questions.
Yeah.
You said that was a 1/2 inch offset on that bowl, right?
Yeah.
Okay, if you did that and you turned them at 120 degrees instead of 180, you get 3 sides.
You could put 10 sides on here if you wanted, yes.
Yeah. Okay, next question. How did you fasten the chuck that goes in this eccentric chuck to the bottom of the bowl? I know you said it was the same size as your mortise. But
no, the tenon, he made a tenon the same size as the offset circular piece that indexes.
The tenon is the same size as this mandrel on here. This 1 5/8 is what I use on here.
Right, but how did you fasten it to the bottom of the bowl?
No, I turned it on the bottom of the bowl, just like you would make a tenon.
Oh.
Yeah, one piece.
And then you cut it all off.
Okay, I should have started. You put the
light bulb came on.
You put the block of wood between centers, okay? Turn it around and turn a tenon on it, 1 5/8.
I believe 1 5/8 is what I'm using in my piece of oak as well.
Yeah, that's what I use. But anyway, then you stick that tenon in here.
Yeah, I got you.
And go back to center and turn the center of the bowl.
I smell what you're stepping in.
The nice, but the nice part of this is once you got the tenon on here, then you take it off, put it on your chuck, and then you center it. Then you can turn the outside of this. And before I do anything, I offset this 1/2 inch and turn the outside. That way, when I offset 1/2 inch, I can keep my tailstock through this whole thing. Don't turn the center out of the bowl. Keep the center of the bowl till last. That way you can keep your tailstock engaged the whole time, so you're not going to lose a piece.
Right.
But you could easily do a 3-sided or 4-sided or whatever you want, and you could go further off center. You're just going to have a little different whatever. Anyway.
And I will be doing one of those as soon as I get back from my cruise.
You got it. Well, or you can do, you can do a long spindle. You could do something 2 feet long, because you've always got you've got the tailstock through the whole thing.
Exactly.
So you could do all kinds of things with that. And this other one, this is one of the problems with this thing flying around is this is flying around, and you could hit your hand on it, and I'll tell you, that really hurts. But,
yeah, that I cannot attest to. I have not hit my hand so far.
Well, congratulations, that's awesome.
If
Boy,
it hurts really bad, but the second,
it hurts thinking about it. It hurts thinking about it.
The second time you do it, oh my God, it hurts bad.
And you got yourself.
They just don't make pain like that anyway. I mean, that's unreal. So anyway, this is the advanced class. This is the same kind of thing, only this whole thing, this has got numbers this way. This center indexes this way. And then this also indexes this way. This has got a tenon on the back and a hole through it, so there's a screw in there to the mandrel itself to tighten that. And the problem with this is when you index, the one I showed there, and the reason I use that is because when you index that sideways, it's linear. It goes 1/4 inch this way. When you index this thing 1/4 inch, you've turned this whole thing. You're actually indexing it 1/4 inch, but you've also indexed this with it. So you've got to pay attention to where you're at. This is harder to use, but this whole thing is circular, and you can't get in too much trouble with it.
That one actually works a lot more like that joiner jig, except instead of poles in joiner jig, you're rotating it around.
Right.
Kind
Very
of, yeah.
Similar. Interesting.
Well, yeah, this all the way around here is 1 inch. No, where is it? 1 inch is over here. That's all the way around is 1 inch. So the other one you can do. This one here, you can kind of see that's
you're moving the center 1 inch. Is that what you're saying?
This is from here. You're moving the center. You can see the center moving across out of 1 inch.
And at 1 inch, that piece is really flopping.
Yeah, that's really moving. Yeah.
All right.
In fact, on a 2-inch piece, the center would be over here. And this is the center here. So, and this is a 3/4 inch. It does the same thing, only when you slide something sideways, you can tell where this is at. When you start indexing it ovally, you're not. It's the advanced class, but it does the same thing.
Yeah.
And then these have the numbers on
them. Well, that's pretty doggone.
Anyway,
I will not be building that one anytime
No,
soon.
I use it, but not that much, really. I like it, but it's anyway. That's it. Nice job.
Thank you, Jim.
Good feeling.
All right. Well, let's go back to Eddie, and then we'll do some gallery after that. After Eddie.
Okay,
Eddie,
pulling
what you got,
spotlight.
buddy?
Yeah. All right. Hey, I want to see the Billy Burt Series 2 of that round one. Because we all know Billy's in the shop right now saying, oh, wow, you know what? I could, and going out. That's the beauty of what we do. It's all started with somebody showing a jig. And the details of that are on our website. If you'd like to see it, go there. If you need more help, you always email us or send a request into the club, and we'll get you more help. Put in the chat, I need to talk to somebody. I don't understand this. We help you out with that. That's what the chat is for, because we're sharing information. What I saw Billy do just now in that demonstration, although we had a little audio video problem, your wood turners, you can live with that, right? Okay. Now we have all those things. Think about all the scraps that you have in your shop, all the little details, all the little cutoffs, all the pieces. Somebody gave you a sample or whatever. All those pieces will make great gifts for nieces, nephews, grandchildren, great grandchildren, whoever. And they're so easy to put together. We're going to do a little something one evening with a little mini about how to go to Hobby Lobby or Michael's and pick up the parts and pieces you need to do the sash and a cord and the BBs to accent them. It's not always the medallion that is the mainstay of this thing. It is how you color it, you decorate it, and how you present it. And they're all little tricks, and we're here to show it to you. And in fact, you did some of that. I got to drop a couple of names here. If you did that, I'd be looking for Bob Moffett, Birdhouse Bob, to show us something about some of that paint that he uses. And because you see, you get into that, you can do the same medallion type thing and put a Yosemite paint, I believe it is. Then you put that paint on it. You can put some sparkly on it, some colorings. Play with your epoxy and inlay some key shavings or other things to float epoxy, and then sand that back off to leave it in the rings. This gives you a variety of things that you can do with one little bitty detail. And if you didn't follow the rules on this, there were no rules. There really weren't. We've heard everything about how to hold it, how to rotate it, how to jig it, what kind of tape to use, the tools that he presented. In fact, it might be the first time in this club's history we have anybody say, make sure your tools aren't too sharp. That's not uttered amongst us wood turners. It really isn't. Sharp tools are critical. Sharpened tools are critical. Billy's tools were sharpened to the right degree. I kind of agree that a simple tool for making final cuts can always be your scraper because of the way you present it and the way it takes a cut. So glad Billy shared that with us tonight. We're going to do more gallery. I have to mention that we have a couple of other demos coming up in the future weeks. And I saw a couple of our members jump in and say, do you have this coming up and that coming up? The chat is where you would put items that you, the wood turner, would want to have added to our event calendar, like Webmaster Dave showed us earlier. We have an event calendar on our website. That event calendar is for everybody, everywhere, every place in the entire world that has to do with wood turning. If it's an event for wood turning, it can go on our event calendar. That's right. And it goes there for free. Because I'll go there sometimes and see what clubs have got things up. Because sometimes lately it's been rather entertaining to watch demonstrations at club meetings on a weeknight or a Saturday or whatever, and see the ingenious ways some of these folks have modified what they're doing and how they're doing it. Unfortunately, you can also see some really dumb stuff. So take it with a grain of salt, because remember, this internet can lie to you all the time. All right, let's go back to gallery now. Dane, you have anybody in the bullpen, sir?
Yeah, I sure do. Let me pull up this guy here.
Trouble? Is this trouble?
Oh, okay. Well, since I selected myself.
That's trouble.
That. Yeah, I saw them earlier today, Dane. They're gorgeous.
Right on. Appreciate it. Thank you. And so both pieces came from the same log. Ratty
No
old
way.
had sitting out on my wood pile, you know, just burning up in the desert sun. So as you can see, I've got spalting going on.
Oh, that's beautiful.
There's a little bit of curl in this piece.
Mm-hmm.
Just a little bit. And I've got my signature finish on it, as you can tell. Here we are, we're back to the back side. This one came out really nice. Here's the bottom. I didn't sign the bottom because I don't know. I made this one for my wife, and the other one I made for my daughter for their grandmother and great grandmother's ashes, which will be going up hopefully in the beginning of May here for them to put ashes in. The finial here is made out of flame box elder.
Wow.
So that's got some pretty cool coloration in it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? That will never, ever turn brown or any other color than what it is. Because I actually dyed with a paintbrush, coral dye on there. Because after I got done turning the finial, all the red was gone.
Oh.
And then so here's the connection. And so I've used brass plumbing, gas line, a nut on this side, and a brass nipple on this side, the tenon. And so now you have a perfect union. There's that one. And then here's the second one. And the beauty of it is I took a picture of it, sent it to the wife, and she picked this one. And then my daughter came over and she saw them and she picked this one. So I was very pleased that there's no infighting about, I want that one. But this one here had a lot more curl in it, but as I got closer to the shape, some of it turned out here on the backside, but it's still very prevalent.
That's awesome.
There's the bottom.
It's beautiful, Dane.
And then thank you. And then the top is a piece of mesquite. I dyed it black with grit dye. And again, the lid is, I don't know what it is. It's white fogwood. And what's weird about it, this wood has that white dot, that's the pith. And I have no idea what kind of wood it is. I cut the tree down out here, but anyhow, it's a super white wood, and the tung oil gives it a slight amber color, but that's the darkest it'll get.
Beautiful.
What I got for the week.
How many coats of tung oil?
There are only 4 coats of tung oil on this.
Let me throw something in there. Ben Poe used to, on all his box elder, he always took an airbrush with a little bit of dye in it and reinforced every one of the lines there because they would change color. And if he needed to add some additional colors to it, he would also add a few little lines here and there to it if you wanted to add to it. But he always on box elder, he reinforced the red color in it because it will go away.
Yes. Yeah, I started doing that several years ago after, my first beautiful piece that I made out of, I made like a 12, 13-inch pedestal bowl, and it had all this beautiful red in it. I mean, literally all over it. I mean, it was a gorgeous piece. And then the person, the Ever After home calls me up like 2 years later and says, that red turned brown. And at that time, I didn't know FBE turned brown. And I'm like, no kidding. Have you been having it sit in the sunlight? I know sun's going to change colors on wood to begin with, but I didn't realize it was going to be that drastic so soon. And of course, they had it sitting in a window in sunlight. And so I just explained, well, that's the reason why, because you had it in front of the sun and the UV is going to affect the wood. But they were still good with it. But, they just wanted to let me know that, hey, went from red to brown. And then so after that, you know, I started, you know, whenever I do FBE, I'll take a fine paintbrush and I'll color over those lines, or if it's just regular box elder or any white wood, you know, I can simulate it and make it look like box elder. So but that's what I got. And I made a book holder, but it's not you know, it's flat work. If there's time, I'll show it later on. But other than that,
I saw somebody would burn the spalting lines on box elder also once. So.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Anything to embellish. Yeah.
Well, the box elder, the color in it is not spalting.
Right. You've got usually the wood is compromised. So you got, usually in a box elder piece that's got the red in it, you also have spalting because you've got the, you know, the fungus that's growing, that's creating the red. So, yeah.
Now the spalting is a permanent color. It will not dissipate.
Right.
Yeah, but if you don't like it or you want more of it, then you can add it with a wood burner.
That's it. If you want more, you can add it to it. Yes, but spalting is a permanent color.
Yeah, spalting ain't going anywhere.
Basic color of the wood.
Yep. Right on. Thanks, Trey. All right, let's go to Mr. Harbor.
Me, okay. Well, in keeping with the off-center stuff, this is the one that I did this week. I just finished painting it right now during the meeting, so there's a hole there, and you guys can see that, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, I got the
bring it down a little bit, and you can see that in the light. There you go. There you go, right there.
So this is the gold paint in the center is a pearlescent paint, so it's real shimmery. There's no finish on this yet. And you guys have seen the mushrooms I've been doing. So there's the basic pattern that I've been burning in with the cup cutters. And then I've been doing some painting. So I'm using 3D paints, 3D fabric paints. This one is purple with a silver glitter paint also. And then I did one where it's the paint. This is a teal paint. It's concentric and it's 3D. It stands up, so you can see the little points. And then I did another one with some spirals on it. So I don't know if y'all can see that.
Very nice, Matt.
Nice, Matt.
These little mushrooms, all different sizes and shapes. So
do you have to hold it upside down to let the paint dry to get those points, or
no?
It's that thick, huh?
Yeah. What you're doing? Let me see if I can. Let me grab a little piece of something here. A little bit of scrap. All right, here's the silver glitter paint. All right, because I was doing that tonight too. So let me see if I can show this.
Oh my God! Pretty much.
All right. So and clearly, when you're doing it, you can wiggle it around and move it a little bit so you can get the point where you want it.
Yeah.
And then you got to be careful that you don't mess with it and let it dry like that. And you'll be good.
How long does it take to dry?
Don't jiggle.
Less than half an hour, I think. It dries pretty quick.
Really?
Well, at least it does here in my room. So.
What kind of wood was that?
A couple of the pieces were linden. One of them was cherry, and one of them was Bradford pear. So this one's cherry.
Yeah.
Let's see. This was pear, and these other two were linden.
Can you show that pendant that you made? That was, I think it's black. No, it's not that one. It was on the cover on our website, but it's black.
That's down in the shop. I'm sorry.
Okay, that's okay.
But it's very. I like the design, and that was the one I did. That was the one I did in the demo. So what I did was I sort of made this pendant is smaller than that one with a similar design. And Robin was asking what happens when, how you start your cuts. This is what happens when you get the cuts to coincide too closely. It tends to like shred the bits that are, too close in there. So that's why you want to try to get the cuts either exactly on top, or you want to, get them, the cuts so they're away from from other cuts.
Yeah. I ran into that problem tonight.
Yeah. You got to be careful about where you put them. And I learned that actually in the demo I did on the joiner jig, earlier this year, because I think the first one I did, it was all screwed up because it was, my practice piece before the meeting, because I was coinciding with the cuts. So things we learn.
Oh yeah.
Right on. Thanks, Matt.
You're welcome. If you don't have anybody else, I've got some jigs and stuff.
Yeah, I've got a couple more, and I can come back to you.
All right. No worry, no rush. If you need filler, I got some. But if you don't, let's see more turn.
Right on.
Yep.
All right, let's go back to Jim Duxbury. Jim, where you at?
Okay. I made some other things. In fact, I did an article on this last year. These are ampules, they call them. It's like a test tube that they got a whole box of these. They threw them out. Nobody knew what they were, I don't think. But anyway, they put a sample in here. Chemists do, or somebody, I don't know. They put a sample in here, and then they heat this, and they melt it and twist it and take this off. I don't know why you have to have all this, but anyway, they seal this sample in glass. And I thought
you do it with toxic stuff or viral stuff. It's basically, you're right, it's sealing it in the glass so it doesn't get loose.
Okay. Well, anyway, I'm not going to do that. But anyway, I made this. I make these 6 at a time now, but this is made with a pin chuck. This is actually one of the articles in issue 375. It's the same on both sides. I got a couple of those.
Could you make a barometer out of that?
But they're pretty.
Could you make a barometer out of that?
Sure.
The liquid that you would put into it?
If you could get it to go up and down.
No, the liquid, the expanding of the liquid.
I had to say that. I don't know.
You can put a barometer in it.
Yeah, but if I suppose you could do it, yeah, why not? It's
barometer or clock or whatever.
Yeah.
A weed pot, you can put on.
Yeah.
So this is a weed pot, but people use them for all kinds of things.
You can put different colors.
Jim, how are you cutting the big cavity? Is there some bandsaw work there or something?
Yeah.
Okay.
You always have to see, look at the article. I don't want to sell magazines, but you almost, when I lay this out, oh, damn it. If I had the centerpiece, I could show you. When I lay this out, there's 2 centers. There's the center of the piece, and there's the center of this hole. The center of this hole is up higher.
Sure.
But I actually draw that, and then I drill 2 3/8 inch holes, one on each side here. And then when I bandsaw this out, before it goes on the lathe, I bandsaw this whole thing out. And I bandsaw in here, and I bandsaw down to the 3/8 hole. I bandsaw down to the 3/8 hole, and that lets me turn this whole thing around and bandsaw back out the cut. And I do that on both sides. That leaves the center of this piece still attached on the bottom. So I can mount this on a pin chuck and turn this whole thing, sand it and finish it. Then I go back in, and I drill a hole where where this other center is. I drill a 16th inch hole all the way through the block. So that when I get all done turning this, sanding it and finishing it, then I take my compass and go back in here and I swing the rest of this arc, go back into the bandsaw, set it up and cut back in and cut that out. And finish this up with a Dremel tool.
Thank you.
All right,
Okay.
look good. Yeah.
But that, anyway, it's detailed in that article. A couple of weeks ago, I showed a 6-sided bow. This is made up of stripes, 6-sided stripe bowl.
Pretty.
Wow.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Talk about geometric.
That is really cool.
It's a lot more work than it's worth, believe me.
I bet.
You could make a good living if you could sell these for $600 a piece.
Is
Anyway.
that the UK magazine you were talking
Jim.
about a while ago?
Yeah.
Okay, wood turners of the UK, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Could you restate the magazine again, please?
Oh, it's in Wood Turners Magazine, issue 375.
Okay. There you go, Gerald.
An ampule vase. But anyway, these are kind of fun. This is actually a cube that the cube has 8 centers. And when you put 2 between center and turn those off, it leaves 6 flying around. So you got 3 on this side and 3 on this side.
Very nice.
I tried to glue this up as a blank and I just cannot do it. I cannot make myself do it. You have to make a cube and turn the other parts away. Anyway, lots of fun.
Yeah, definitely.
What episode was that? Wood Turning Magazine?
375 for that's for that ampule article.
Thank you.
Yeah.
My next article coming out, a heart-shaped bowl. That's a good one too. That's in 383, I think. But I have to tell you, being an author, you get your magazine last, okay? Everybody else has made the thing and called you and asked you all kinds of questions about it. And you haven't even seen the book yet. I don't know how that works, but I haven't even seen the stool article yet, other than the draft they sent in. So anyway, that's
all right,
mine.
thanks, Jim.
All the best.
Always wonderful stuff you share. All right, let's go to this outlaw.
Hey there.
Joaquin.
That iron I started last week, I finally got around to get it to a finished point.
All right.
It's beautiful.
I'm waiting for the I put a 2-inch brass plate in here. I'm waiting for it to be engraved. I should get it Friday where I can put that in there. I do have the threads also, but I didn't put it on here yet because I want this to stop in a certain place. And so I was waiting for this glue to dry here so it'd be solid when I do that. And so we're on the way with that.
It's beautiful.
That's looking good.
So my offset turning this week, it turned into doing Barbara Dill's 3-side twisted cup.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, nice.
Got a great video of it.
Wow.
And I've done several of these, and it's been a while.
Yeah, those are fun.
And this one's out of hackberry.
That is cool.
Yeah.
And she even
Cool,
drinks
cool
out
to
of
see
hers.
those.
She puts super glue in there and uses it for tea and such.
Yeah.
I don't think it'd be anything good for anything hot, but she actually does do that.
Yeah, it's good for booze and cold stuff.
Yeah. And so we carry it a little bit further and do a 3-sided box, twisted box.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And this is out of hackberry. And in order to keep my grain line and not cut so much out and have a big gap there, I put a sleeve in there. That's a mesquite sleeve. It goes all the way to the bottom.
That's a good idea. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And so all
Smart
I
idea.
lost was 1/16 of my parting tool.
Right.
And so if I'd have took out, 3/8, whatever I needed to make that lip and everything, it wouldn't match at all. This particular one wouldn't anyway, especially on this side here.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's a good idea.
Yeah.
It looks
But
great.
it's fun. I got to turn with her in Michigan. She is a fantastic turner. And she makes it look so easy and cuts so easy. And I'm over there banging away, but she's got a lot of good information and books out there if you're interested in the offset turning.
Yeah.
That's what I have tonight.
Thanks, Joaquin.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Joaquin.
You betcha.
All right. Let's go back to Matt here for, I think we're going to do some screen sharing. Matt?
No, I'm just going to give you all vertigo. I'm going to take my camera and rotate it through some stuff. So this is just jigs. I've got I'm not really using it right now, but I've got an articulated arm here with a microphone on it. So, and there's the only knob I have on it is that knob up there. And I built some, let me see here if I could do this. I put my speakers underneath my my table here, my shelf that I just installed to get them out of the way. And I just made some quick little bandsaw fixtures here that fit on there. That's all. And then I've got some hooks that I made to go on the shelves too. Then they just slide onto the shelf, and I do things like hang headphones on them and stuff like that. So that's all. So fun with, there's a lot you can do with a bandsaw. That's all I'm trying to say.
Sure.
So it's like I do 2x4s. I make all kinds of things with 2x4s and the bandsaw for all kinds of jigs, and I do that in the shop too for hanging things like chucks and I mean, you guys have seen that, and that the rack back there with the flutes on it it was bandsawed too, very quick and dirty. So there's a lot of things you can do with the bandsaw to really make your job in the shop or wherever easier.
Hey,
so
I think
that's all
I've
got
to this question, but your articulated arms, don't we have those plans on the website?
Yes, yeah, I did a demo and how to make the knobs and how I made the articulated arms, and this one here has got they're inch wide plywood. Okay, and this one I did differently. I don't have screws here. These are just dowels holding them together here. So when it rotates, it's just dowels in there. And the only screw I've got in here is this one here on the knob that tightens things or loosens things up. So, but it's just right now it's just clamped on the shelf because the clamp I made doesn't fit. It's too bulky. So I made a clamp just to see if I can make it. But it's sorry about the vertigo, folks.
Oh, that's all right.
You're fine.
Yeah, but that's all I've got. So it's and you guys, and the plans for the articulated arm and the details about how I made all the pieces are all on the website. I replaced all the screws with dowels in this one just to see if it would work. And it works great. So
good deal. Thanks.
Yep, saved on the screws, saved on the T-nuts and all kinds of extra work. So the only thing is that things are sort of held together with the screws. So if I need to change something, it's harder.
Right.
But I don't think I'll need to change anything.
Okay. Well, I'm getting
did all my measuring ahead of time.
All right, so I'm getting my little book holder that I made. My mother-in-law put in a request a few days ago, saying that she wanted a book holder. Sent me a picture of one that she was aiming to buy that was going to be overpriced and not very convenient because she has limited space. And so I came up with a design of this. That way it can be broke down. It's got half lap joints. This is made out of Norwegian spruce, which is an extremely white wood. So what am I going to do with a white wood? I'm going to dye it. And it goes together like so. Let me put the cookbook on it, and then I'll put the book on it. thought it was. Oh, it is a cookbook. Okay. And I'll flip the camera around so you can see it in action.
Oh,
And
cool.
so there it is.
Cool.
That looks good.
You know, so the ends hold the, you know, the pages to keep it from turning on you.
And they're not too big that covers up the writing either.
Right. And then of course had to throw in a little bit of turquoise, you know.
Yeah. Looks good.
Well, that's pretty.
You know, and so once again, you know, there it goes. And if you wanted to flip it around because you wanted to have the turquoise on the opposite side, you can. And so it's ambidextrous. And so here it is on the other side.
That looks
Yeah,
good.
kind of neat, you know. She's got limited space. And she sent me a big square, you know, ugly looking thing that she had found on the internet. And I'm like, yeah, I can do something better than that. So
that'd be a good thing to do to make for displaying your bowls and your platters for your.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
And of course, I got tongue oil on this as well, but I didn't go extravagant like I do with my attorney. He insisted on this on it. After all, she is my mother. We really don't get along. The only time we talk is when she wants something.
Nice.
I have the same problem with mine.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's pretty sad. Don't get me started. All right, with that, let's go back to Eddie here, our wonderful host. Eddie.
Hey, folks. Boy, it's been a great afternoon or evening. A lot of things shared. And I tell you, that little thing that Dane just showed for holding cookbooks, a pattern of that will be on the website. Right, Dane? Yeah. All right. And
Sure.
So if you want to cut one out yourselves, and the beauty of that is it will come from you. And you can make that out of any material you wish, as long as you wish to color it. Really. So if you only have some 5/8 or 3/4 plywood around the shop that's in no footballs in it, it looks really nice, cut it out of that, seal it, finish it, paint it, put some decoration on it, and boom, you're down the road. You got some points. And it's a useful thing. I mean, especially what Susan just said about showing plates and platters. Yes, when you turn a plate or a platter, I'm running out of wall space for plates and platters. You turn a plate or a platter, you want to show it. You can make your own holder. Just draw it all out. I'm going to go right back to what we always talk about. Draw it Jim Duxbury style on a piece of graph paper. Lay it all out. See how the plate's got to lay, what the notch has got to be, not too large on the holdbacks, and all that. And you come out with a really nice project. And it, as I say earlier, it comes out of your shop. We have details for a lot of these things we talked about tonight, from the concentric offset jig to the articulated arm program that Matt developed for us, to demonstrations on how to use most of these items and jigs that we've seen. All that's available on the world's greatest wood turning website. And it's not a promotion, that's the truth. And to expand where we were with Jim Duxbury and some of the articles he's written on wood turning, which are good. It's in a magazine called Wood Turning. I bought mine through a subscription on Amazon. It cost me $3.27 a month. Beat that for a magazine. $3.27 a month. I get it. It's on my iPad, so I can read it anytime I want. I don't have to go download it each time. I download it once and it stays there. And the beauty of that entire magazine is it's made for you and I. That's right. It's made. We're not going to go deep off the deep end with artistry and how to do all this weird, really weird one-of-a-kind turning. It's not one of a kind. You're going to do it. So you've got these directions and guidances, and every one of them's got, every issue has got 6 dealing with wood turning. So if you're getting wood turner, and I pay for my subscription just like you would, if you're beginning wood turner, check that one out. I'm kind of turned off on some magazines that do that have to expound on art. Everything we turn is art, folks. Everything we turn is art. I'd like to expound on technique, and that's what you get here. Well, it's been a very interesting evening. I thank you all for being here tonight, and I hope you enjoyed it. We're back every Wednesday evening. Remember to bring a friend. Please bring a friend. We've got plenty of room on the tailgate for them. And above all else, this is a high point of my week. Yeah, I get choked up over it. It's a high point of my week because this is when I get to sit with my friends and talk and lie and share. Oh, wait, and talk and share and all that. The lie, no, that's all right. But we have time. I hope to see each and every one of you again next week. And now, this will not end the meeting. I terminate the formal meeting right now, and it will continue on in a chat session. And boy, last week you guys came up with some stuff. So I can't wait to listen to that wrap up. Oh, man, really? And it never stops. Never, ever stops. Thank y'all so much for that. Until next week, y'all take care and be safe. Like Sue says, be safe. And Donald said, save the chat. Means right now, you go over to the chat, press on a little button, and said save the chat. Then the chat's in your computer, just as it is right now. Dave edits out some particulars before he puts it on our website, but it's all there, and Dave showed you where to find it. Next week, we'll have another peek at the world's greatest wood-turning website. Again, good night. Thank you. Take care.
Good night, everybody.
Good night,
Eddie. Night, everybody.
Night.
Good night, everyone.
Guten Abend. Hey, Dave, fantastic presentation there on the website. Very beneficial information. I know you've been getting a lot of feedback on the contact list, so I'm glad you was able to go through that. Hopefully it helps folks out.
Yeah, I'm happy to give anybody, if they send emails directly to me, I'll certainly respond. The only reason I showed how you could get it faster was I know some people may not get information back from me for a couple of days on things like the chat and whatnot. But we'll try giving a little reminder each week about what you can find where, because some of the stuff isn't intuitively obvious where to locate it. And we'll try to strengthen that. But
well, you know, you have put together how you've been able to assemble and maintain and keep adding to the page the way you do. Yeah, it's beyond me. Do a fabulous job, buddy.
Yeah, it's amazing. Thanks, David.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thanks.
I know I'm mentoring a kid back in some little suburb outside of Pittsburgh, and some of the bonehead questions that he keeps asking. So I tell him, go to this website and look at the tutorials and the demo videos we have, because what you're asking, we've got all that information covered. He goes there and he's like, oh my God, this website, I can't believe it's not a pay for website. You guys got so much information there. And I go, yep. I go, that's what we're all about, is sharing the information and getting the how-to wood turning out to everybody. Instead of, a select few thinking they're the ones that came up with it, or they're the ones that only know how to do it. We're proving that this trade, this hobby, this skill is for everybody, not just for a select few that figured out how to do something and don't want to share it. So my hat's off to Dave Rhodes on what he does.
Yeah, the videos and the breakouts of the videos is wonderful. I love it.
Right.
And I teach a lot of beginners, and they all have the same questions. So the same basic questions. So you can I know there's questions I've answered 50 times. But and it's nice to say here. I love being able to say, go here and you can see how somebody's doing it. It saves a lot of time.
Yep.
So,
yeah, we've got a lot of good information out there. it's pretty good.
It is.
You know, and it's funny, you know, within the groups, Matt, how so many people have never heard of us. But, you know, I know you broadcast us. I broadcast this. Brenda broadcasts this. Andy Schuster broadcasts this. Let's see, Bob used to. I don't think he's on Facebook anymore. But there's so many of us that broadcast the group. But at the same time, I don't see these people coming in. You know what I mean?
Well, and it's an interesting dichotomy because it's like I've taken a new gig where I'm teaching at a wood turning class every month, an intro to wood turning class, full weekend long at a local college. And I'm teaching it every month and I'm scheduled into January. And it's a great gig, but I see, you know, 12 beginners every month who've never seen a wood turn, you know, they've self-taught or they're trades guys who self-taught and they don't know there's an AAW. They don't know there's this club. They don't know, you know, that there are local chapters in pretty much every major city in the United States and Canada and overseas and so on, you know, and it's fascinating because there's just all these resources available. And I mean, my first recommendation to anybody starting off is join a club. Even if you've got to travel an hour to get in the mentor program, so you could spend a couple hours in somebody's shop making shavings, it's the greatest time spent ever. You know, you learn,
it would be.
You learn so much about, I'm going to let Tom in. Hey, Tom,
him.
glad you're in. But it's like, you know, people need to, the vast amount of resources out there. And it's, I mean, you know that when you go to teach beginners, people who have not been a part of a group, that they've learned from YouTube and they've learned some bad habits sometimes.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
And you have to, you know, I mean, I had one guy in one of the classes I taught that was, he comes from a long, you know, he's been woodworking his entire life. And his thing to do is he was always just sticking the tool tip, the edge into the wood. And I was like, no, you got to find the bevel. You got to ride the bevel, you know. And it's like, you know, he had this habit of always putting the tool into the wood, you know, with a chisel or whatever. And
one of the things, Matt, they've learned that from the carbide tools, hold it flat, level, and stick it into the wood. And they think they can do that with anything. And
just poke away.
It's a recipe for disaster.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, but Dean, that's not the way to use a good carbide tool either.
Oh, I know, but I mean, you know,
but we all learn that, and I try to be very open to people who have carbides, you know, to try, you know, you can make these work. I mean, I know people who turn great stuff with carbides, so it's like I try to stay away from that discussion about which is better, because it's, you know, you can make any tool do the job, you know, and
85% of what Matt, 85% of what I turn is with carbide.
Yeah, was it you who was saying that? No, I was talking to somebody else today earlier, but a guy who's a Facebook friend of mine who is completely self-taught on YouTube, and he's turning out some nice stuff. But he said he uses carbides a lot. He says, I hog with carbides. He says, I just get in there and hog it out with a carbide. So he's found a way.
I love carbides for hollowing.
Oh yeah, well yeah. I mean, they all started that way, didn't they?
Those urns that I did. So I think you guys heard me mention several weeks ago that I was going to go to an estate sale of a wood turner, and so, you know, I went there to get the Carter Products steady rest that got hanging on the back of the wall, and I wanted the bean set, but another guy beat me to it. He was number 1 in line. I was number 10, and you know, so I slapped my name on the Carter Products steady rest, and then I beeline to the wood turning tools, and I started pulling up out of the rack. And so there was a set of you had the medium, you had the large set, and then the guy had the small set of the Easy Wood carbides to include the swan neck. And so as I was pulling it up, you know, the little ones, you know, and there's a guy right beside me. He's like, "Are you going to take that?" I go, "No, you can have it." And got to the bigger ones, and I'm like, you know what, screw it. I'm going to go ahead and get these because they're $70 a pop. And so I got the square, I got the concave square, I got the 16 mil round, and I got the big swan neck with the, I don't know if it's a 12 millimeter or 14 millimeter carbide, but so I used the carbides, you know, on these urns that I did, you know. So first I used the square carbide for turning the brass nut down. Worked beautifully. I mean, I was making 2-inch, 2.5-inch curly cues. I mean, it was like it was coming off a damn drill press.
I love it.
Yeah,
I mean,
it was,
metal. Sounds like a metalworking scribe or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. It was sweet. You know, perfect surface. Of course, you know. Same time, I know the basics of the presentation and everything. So you know, so I didn't have that learning curve.
Well, I got to tell you my story, Dane.
And then, you'll go next.
Okay.
And then, so I did the outside profile of my my urns. Obviously, I'm going to use my high speed for that. And you know, so for that, you know, the outside, you know, I use my skew, and then doing the union for the base, spindle gouge, you know. But on the inside, I used that carbide, and I was just floored how well it cut, and what an even better surface than my high speed steel cutter bits that I have in my hollowing rig. You know, an even better surface than that. I bet. Obviously, I didn't sand it, you know, because I only got a 1-inch opening in there. No, sorry, inch and a quarter.
Oh, come on, Dane, you can sand that. Figure it out.
Yeah, I know, right? You know, but it didn't need it. You know, I mean, it was so smooth, and I mean, and I was really, really impressed with how that carbide cut on that end grain. Of course, it was cherry. I'm impressed with the way cherry cuts anyhow. I don't get much cherry to work with out here.